great weekend of giveaways is coming up against the Cincinnati Reds. April 28th, 29th, and 30th. Friday, it's the Bruce Sutter Garden Gnome. Saturday, the Carlos Martinez and Matt Carpenter Double Bobblehead, presented by SSM Health Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital. Sunday is the Powerade and Shop and Save Carlos Martinez Kids Home White Jersey. It's the weekend of April 28th, 29th, and 30th. Tickets available at cardinals.com/promotions.
Hey kids, have you ever wondered what it's like to put on a Cardinals home jersey like Carlos Martinez? Now you can find out April 30th when the Cardinals take on the Reds. Sunday, April 30th, it's the Carlos Martinez Kids Home White Jersey giveaway, presented by Powerade and Shop and Save. All kids 15 and younger will take home the jersey, plus a free ticket voucher to a future home game presented by Ritz. That's Sunday, April 30th. Tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions.
The folks at St. Louis Barbecue Store are the barbecuing experts in St. Louis. They sell a wide variety of smokers and grills, including great brands like Backwood and Humphrey Smokers, Kamado Joe ceramic grills, as well as the locally made Gateway drum smokers. Need supplies? They have everything you need relating to barbecuing, including rubs, sauces, brines, injectors, tools, thermometers, and more. Plus, they specialize in barbecue only. They don't sell fireplaces and patio furniture, just everything you need to step up your grilling experience this spring. Heard of the pellet grill craze? They stock brands that are built to last, like Memphis Grills, Blazing Grill Works, and Green Mountain Grills that are not found in big box retail stores. You need high-quality pellets at the lowest prices in town? They stock up to 10,000 pounds of them in a wide range of flavors and blends. Check them out online at stlbbqstore.com or call them at 314-200-5350. That's the St. Louis Barbecue Store, located at Gravois and McKenzie in South County.
It's McBride & Son's Home Sweet Home Tour during the month of April. Visit any of McBride's over 40 communities to get sweet treats and an even sweeter deal. Save from $5,000 to $105,000 on a new inventory home. Plus, McBride will have dessert food trucks at select locations throughout the month, so follow them on social media for dates and stops. The McBride Home Sweet Home Tour now through April 30th. It's a sweet chance to get a sweet deal on a new home. See McBrideHomes.com for details.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Naputi Wellness, NaputiWellnessCenter.com.
The Mark Cox Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
The Mark Cox Show.
I respect that. We don't agree.
Listen to both sides.
Let's get it on. Is The Mark Cox Show.
What you see in the GOP haste to pass the bill and Trump trying to cram it down in the last 100 days, I think President Trump is really making fools of the members of Congress of his own party. He's asking them to vote for a bill that is wildly unpopular in the country, is the wrong thing to do first and foremost, is going to be doo-doo stuck to their shoe for a long time to come, and with terrible consequences to the American people.
What a horrible woman she is.
Welcome into... Oh, no. Hang on.
Hello. That's funny. Welcome into the Mark Cox Show. Everybody. That was, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're wondering why I sounded like a devil for a scant second, more so than normal, is because the Dave Glover show has some sort of voice morphing device here in the studio, and if it gets bumped even in the slightest, it makes you sound like Chuck Schumer. I mean, the devil. It does. That stuff happens here on occasion. But welcome
to live radio
program. Glad that you're in here with us today on this Thursday, and glad we're going to get at least a day to dry out before we get more rain in. But that's just kind of the nature of it, huh? I'm ready. I think I'm ready for winter to be over. I didn't want 50-degree weather again today, but here we are. Hey, what in the world is new? Wow, a lot. We've got you just heard Nancy Pelosi, and I called this yesterday. I said, you know what? What's going to happen? I played the Debbie Downer story where she's going to claim that old people are going to be eating dog food and they're going to literally die. And we've already got Steny Hoyer and Chuck Schumer coming out and talking about how horrible this is. You know what they did most recently, don't you? Yes. They referred to it as trickle-down economics, which is their great anti-Reagan argument about why tax cuts don't work. I wonder why they weren't saying that to John F. Kennedy back in the 60s when he proposed a major tax cut. It's the same reaction from the left every time you want to cut taxes. And it's mind-numbing to listen to them after a while. They'll do everything they can to convince you that it's never worked. We've got all this evidence that it's never worked. There's just no way that you can cut taxes and see the government grow, even though we saw it happen in the 1980s. And I want to talk about that a little bit today because over the next 48 hours or so until the tax talk dies away, which it will, because this is important to remember. They're introducing their plan for tax reform. But understand that this is not something they plan to tackle legislatively until potentially August, after the summer recess. And in between now and then, you're going to hear a lot of misinformation from the left about what this bill would do and what this bill wouldn't do. And they're going to try to claim that it doesn't pay for itself. But the statistics are out there, and the economists need to come forward and be honest about this. The reason, and do the homework on it, the reason that the deficit went up in the 1980s under Ronald Reagan is that he made a deal with Tip O'Neill that O'Neill then backed out of, because there were never the cuts that were supposed to happen in spending after the tax cuts. And the Democrats use that as the excuse that tax cuts don't work. But the truth of the matter is, we've got to stop spending. We don't have a tax problem in this country. We have a spending problem in this country. And how often do we have to go over that again and again and again and sound like a broken record? What the Republicans need to do is come together and strike while the iron is hot, while they still have both houses of Congress, and they need to reach a grand bargain. And I hate to use that term because it harkens back to Barack Obama and when he basically blew off John Boehner on a grand bargain one time. But they need to reach an agreement with these leftists who now control the Democratic Party, and they've got to rein in these entitlements. They've got to fix Social Security. They need to fix some of these issues so that it's not a yoke around the neck of the American economy forever. Healthcare is just the first step. Once they get rid of Obamacare and the ridiculous taxes that all of them hadn't even come to fruition yet. Once we're done with that, that's a big step in the right direction. And then you free up people who have more money to spend. You free up companies who have more money to invest. Even a modest improvement in the growth rate in this country from 1.6% last quarter, Obama's last quarter, 1.6%, the numbers are in today. If that gets bumped up above 3%, even without making this tax cut have offsets, the deficit drops. And I'll direct you to the graphs that show that. And if they can get it up to 3.5% or 4%, it drops precipitously. If they could combine that with some cost controls on entitlements in this country, including what they're trying to do with Medicare and Medicaid, specifically Medicaid, in revising the Health Care Act, that is a huge step in the right direction. And finally, we have an opportunity 30 years after Ronald Reagan left office to do this the right way. I don't like everything that's in this plan, and we're going to talk about that a little bit today because I've got an expert coming up for you here a little later in the hour. He is a policy analyst at the Rowe Institute to take a look at this Trump tax plan and what it would do and what it wouldn't do on the details that we have so far. What's my number one complaint? Why do we still have a tax category that's 35%? Can someone explain that to me? You know, I'm not a fan of the progressive tax schedule to begin with. But why are we only bringing down the top rate from 38% to 35%? Think about what that means. Somebody who's in the highest tax bracket gives up 1/3 of their earnings to the federal government. And the Democrats, it's a tax cut for the richest Americans because they're only giving up 35% of their income instead of 38%. It gets back to the age-old argument by the left of trying to bring out that little green monster inside all of us to envy what somebody else has and buy into the argument that government gets to pick the winners and losers and decide how much of your income, regardless of how you earned it, whether you work for daddy and he pays you $1 million a year, or you've scrapped and saved and fought for every single thing in your life, and finally you're making $100,000 a year or $150,000 a year, to have the government come along and decide, well, you need to give up 1/3 of your income because you're fortunate enough to make more. No, you're not fortunate enough. You worked your tail off to get where you are, but you get penalized for success in this country. That's what we've got to stop doing. So there are things in this tax plan that I've looked at that I'm not crazy about. I have a lot of questions about it myself, but even reducing the corporate taxes is just such a great step in the right direction. We're going to talk more about that today. And, of course, the health care bill as well, because the Democrats, in their never-ending, apparently, effort since January 20th to stonewall every single thing this president tries to do, have now announced that even though the funding for the wall was already pulled out of the continuing resolution, they will refuse to fund the government if the Republicans try to hurry up and vote on this health care plan. There's a fear that they may have a vote maybe Monday or Tuesday of next week prior to the vote on the continuing resolution, and the Democrats are now threatening to withhold their support and shut down the government to try to stop the Republicans from repealing and replacing Obamacare. So that's the world we live in these days, and they're going to own it. If they make the decision to do that, the left will own shutting down the government that they bow to all the time. They're great god of government. I can't help but to go back once again to Ronaldus Magnus.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Thank you, Ronald Reagan. Liz, let's get to the short list, please.
The short list brought to you by Bill Thomas Camper Sales. Find your camper at btcamper.com.
Because conservatives engaged in this debate and held out and fought the original bill, right now what we have is all the tax increases are going right away that were under Obamacare. All those tax increases in that legislation are going right away.
Look, I think these are bold measures that can pass the House and Senate and get the president's desk.
We're not going to reform taxes, however, simply to give the wealthiest in the nation a break.
There you have it. It's just going to give the wealthiest in the nation a break. Nonsense. You've never worked for a poor person. Stop with the envy talk. That just gets us nowhere. A little later in the hour, we are going to talk to John Karch as well in the next hour. He is with the Americans for Tax Reform. This is the Grover Norquist group, because there are varying opinions on this. There are some in the very conservative side of Congress who've said this tax plan is not really tax reform, that it doesn't go far enough. And it kind of gets us back to the health care argument. The people who've opposed health care because of their argument that it doesn't technically repeal every single part of Obamacare. And that's why I want to kind of tear this thing apart, since we've got a few more details today on what's in it, what it does, how it reduces these tax brackets to 10, 25, and 35%, what you're going to be able to deduct, what you may not be able to deduct anymore. There are a few of those things where I'm hoping that Adam Michael, who's going to be our guest coming up here in a few minutes, and then maybe John Karch can parse out for us. The important thing to note is that we don't have all the details. And that can lead to a lot of speculation about what this may or may not do. What's it do for if you have an LLC and the flow-through losses from, let's say, real estate? Because they said they were going to do away with a lot of deductions other than your general mortgage interest deduction and maybe healthcare expenses and contributing to a 401k. But beyond that, they were going to eliminate a lot of those things. So there's still questions out there. We'll get to more on that here. Also, today, what about this Ann Coulter situation? Did you watch Ann last night? She was on Hannity, and she talked a little bit about her decision not to go speak on the campus of UC Berkeley after all. And quite frankly, she blamed her Republican supporters for her not appearing.
But at the end, YAF pulled out, said they wouldn't be associated with anything I did at Berkeley, and they wouldn't let the college Republicans bring a separate action either.
So YAF, as she's referring to there, is the Young America's Foundation. Young America's Foundation are the ones who brought Colonel Allen West to St. Louis University when all of the cupcakes and snowflakes showed up to protest him speaking the truth about radical Islam. They're the ones who were behind that, and they supported conservative speakers all over the country. We've invited the Young America's Federation to join us on the air today, a little later in the show, to give their side of this, because they have a long history of supporting conservative free speech. So I want to find out what's going on there and why Coulter would make an allegation like that. We'll get to your phone calls. Brandon, hold on the line. 314-969-9797, 866-455-9797. And we will be back in just a minute.
Mark Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com. Dependable weather.
Clouds take control today. Chance of a couple of spotty
with Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray.
Brought to you by Air Comfort Service. Spring is here. Schedule your air conditioner tune-up today. Visit aircomfortservice.com for spring savings.
Speaking of health care, it's obvious there could be a vote soon to change our current health care system, at least away from Obamacare and into something else where you have more choice. In the meantime, are you one of those families or individuals who saw your Obamacare exchange premiums go up by $400 or $500 or $600 when it got renewed? Because there are a lot of folks out there that saw 30, 40, 50% increases in their premiums. You don't have to live with that. You can call Bill Pauly at the Healthcare Solutions team and ask him, Bill, what are my options here? Because this is about to break the bank. I can't afford to pay an extra $6,000 or $7,000 a year for healthcare expenses. And my experience with Bill through a friend of mine is that he saved him $600 a month. Lowered his premium by that much and got him a lower deductible for his family of 5. That's a chunk of change. That's $6,000 or $7,000 a year that they were able to save. He's working with brand name companies. You're going to know who they are. And they're shopping around to find you the policy that works best for you and your family. Call Healthcare Solutions Team. Deal with somebody right here in St. Louis, 314-304-6850.
Are you nearing retirement and wondering if you can afford to retire? Are you worried that you won't have enough income in retirement to live the same lifestyle as you are now? Are you also wondering how the stock market will affect your current retirement plan? This is Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group, and we'd like to show you the kind of income your retirement accounts can provide, whether you're retiring now or even in the next 5 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation financial review. We'll build your own personalized structured income plan that will show you exactly the type of retirement you can count on. And just for coming in, we'll give you a copy of my best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees achieve a worry-free retirement for 30 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494, or visit us online at retirementkey.com. Once again, that's 314-993-9494 or online at retirementkey.com.
Harness the power to get more done at Seidenstrickers with the John Deere 312 GR skid steer. Get powerful digging performance and generous lift. And it's equipped with manual controls and a fuel-efficient diesel engine, so it's as easy to operate as it is to own at Seidenstrickers at only $24,999. Plus, our extended warranty includes a second year or 2,000 hours on the powertrain and hydraulics.
Offer ends May 1st, 2017. Prices and model availability may vary by dealer. Some restrictions apply. Other special rates and terms may be available. See the limited warranty for new John Deere equipment at dealer for details. Available at your local Seidenstricker location.
Hey, St. Louis, check out the hottest new brand called Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's in Brentwood on Hanley Road, just south of Highway 40 in front of Menards. Get an unbelievable haircut, hot towel treatment, and hot leather neck shape from our award-winning stylist for just $12. Lady Jane's in Brentwood, it's wicked awesome.
Looking for a solution to high real estate fees? Homeowners Alternative will list your home for as little as 1%. That's right, 1%. Take advantage of this outstanding seller's market. Homeownersalternative.com. Common sense real estate fees.
If you've been contacted by the IRS or Missouri Department of Revenue for an audit or a past due tax debt, you may need the services of a tax attorney that can resolve your tax issues. Hi, I'm Lance Drury, a local tax attorney with over 30 years of experience, and I've helped hundreds resolve their IRS issues. Contact me at the law firm of Lance Drury right here in St. Louis. Your first visit is free and confidential, and we'll meet in person and work on a strategy to protect you and ensure a fair compromise. I know your rights, I know the law, and I get results. So if you've missed tax filings or if you've been accused of tax evasion, tax fraud, facing IRS, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, act now. Call me, tax resolution attorney Lance Drury, at 314-238-7360, or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com. That's Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Dave Glover.
The Dave Glover Show.
Thursday on the DGS, my favorite segment all week, The Think Tank at 5 p.m.
Dave Glover.
Now weekdays 3 to 7 on FM News Talk 97.1. You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
The Fox News polling does back up just how worried the American people are when Fox News asked registered voters, what is a higher priority? Look at this. 71% said fixing the healthcare system. But is a higher priority than tax reform in this country? And you know how popular that is.
Well, that tells you something, doesn't it? That Donald Trump and the Republicans in Washington are trying to address that issue that ranks the highest for Americans first. And they've pretty much said that all along. they're gonna take care of health care before they get to tax reform. But as you found out yesterday, tax reform is high up on their list too. They just need to deal with health care first. That's what the American people want. So you're going to see Trump's numbers start to bounce up here as they start to take apart this monstrosity known as Obamacare that only works if you don't. And that is the truth. That's the mantra it will be known for in the history books. It only worked if you don't. 314-969-9797, 866-455-9797. What say you? We'll get to more on this issue of what's going to be in the tax bill, because I've got an expert coming up here in the next segment who's sort of been analyzing what they're going to do and what they're not going to do, and what the odds are of it coming through Congress intact, because this will be a tough fight. There's no doubt about that. Brandon, thanks for holding on.
Thank you so much. Big fan. I just want to make sure if you can hear me, because I have a hands-free on. I'm a truck driver, so if you can.
It sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just a little bit. I want to talk about free speech where we are today. It's because to me it looks like I moved here 20 years back, and things were not that bad. But now I've seen a big change in America in 20 years where. I mean, back in 50s, now you wouldn't imagine people stomping on American flags and things like that. You know, when you would think about people burning flags, that era was totally different because of the diversity. You know, diversity brings a lot of problems, which, people, I don't care what they say, diversity is a good thing, but, these people burning these flags, and a lot of these people hate America. Most of them are not from here. You're not bringing too many conservatives from all these other countries. I don't care if they're coming from Latino countries or Middle East or anywhere else, because I'm from Pakistan, and I'll tell you one thing, because I was born and raised Christian in Pakistan, took a lot of beating in Pakistan, for being Christian. So the problem is you're not bringing too many conservatives here. What are you bringing? A lot of people who have a lot of hate for America. So now you cannot talk about anyone or anything, so the freedom of speech is basically gone because America is kind of bringing that themselves.
Well, the difference you talked about, from the 50s, when if somebody had seen somebody burning an American flag, they probably would have torn them apart, to now, when the liberals and the ACLU have demanded that is a form of free speech and you're allowed to do it, but Ann Coulter doesn't have the right to go to the University of California at Berkeley, which is a public university campus system in California, and speak about her beliefs in conservatism. She's not allowed to do that. Her right is suppressed because the left is now offended by free speech they don't agree with. The left is only tolerant of speech that they agree with.
Yeah, it's because the era that we live in now is because, if a guy go to church, he's just not cool enough, because any guy who go to mosque and pray 5 times a day, millennial will think, he's such a nice guy or such a nice person. He's so close to God and this and that. But as long as you don't go to church, you're just such a loser, It's just sad to see where America is heading. But, it's kind of like, because, when I was going to school, I'm not going to take too much of your time, but I'm sorry. When I was going to school to become a truck driver, I had these 4 people with me as a student. 2 are from Colombia, one from Brazil, and one from Puerto Rico. And I'll tell you one thing, they all hated each other. Everybody was arguing about who's better than the other. So diversity doesn't work. These people will never burn their flags. They hate America, and they will never... The only reason they come here is just for free stuff. I'm telling you, the immigration back in the days were different. People never used to get food stamps or any other things. They came here and they became American. These people coming here now only coming for food stamps, and that's the difference. And now, if you want to talk bad about anyone, Mexican or even if I'm not saying they're bad people, but even if they're doing something wrong, you cannot point that out because. People will think that you're just some kind of hater. So that's the only ticket that Democrats run now. So, you'll always see, next presidential nominee either it's a minority or some a woman or someone, so you cannot talk bad about them. So that's just how they always play.
Yeah, I appreciate you calling in, Brandon. Thank you so much, and you made some good points, and it's valid. What Brandon's point brings, and thanks you for the call. What his point brings to this is he's from Pakistan. He immigrated to this country legally, and he became part of the fabric of this country. Remember that when he talks about the diversity issue. The problem they're having in France and in England and Sweden and some of these places is that people who are the refugees who are coming there, who are migrating there, who are being welcomed with open arms, they're not adapting to the society. They're keeping a separate society going and trying to turn whatever country they're going to into the one they just came from. And that's what this gets down to. And I think that's different than diversity.
What in the hell's diversity?
Well, I could be wrong, but I believe diversity is an old wooden ship that was used during the Civil War era.
So, see, I was right. It is different than diversity. I'm just saying. You need people who want to come here because they want to. They believe in the greatness of America and the opportunities that exist, and they want to become part of this society. That's it. And like most red-blooded Americans, I'm willing to go on a battlefield and fight and die for your right to free speech and your right to free religion and all of that stuff. But don't come bringing a religion that talks about killing me because I'm a Christian. That's not going to work. We have to have the ability to speak out about those things. Keith, thanks for calling the program.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, I got a couple of comments here.
Can you turn your radio down?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I think there should be a fourth tax bracket. We should have a tax that takes 50% of their earnings. That should shut the left up because most of the left is rich people anyway. And hopefully it would cause the secession movement in California to go through. I'm so tired of those.
Yeah.
I agree with the other gentleman that even 20 years ago, people were coming here to be Americans.
To acclimate.
Yes, to become Americans, not bring their country with them. That's not the purpose of this country. That's not what we were made. That's not in our Constitution. That's not what our founding fathers wanted. They wanted a nation that would allow people to come here and be Americans and to have new opportunities open up for them rather than to bring the junk that they're running away from with them.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you I don't know how you change that trend. I don't know at this point. It's not like you can check a box off on a piece of paper when somebody's trying to come in and say, "Are you willing to acclimate? Yes or no?" But you need to make it clear that we want people who want to be here, right? That makes sense.
And basically, it's like I told somebody else. I said, you got these cities, the sanctuary cities, and they're going to protect these people. I got a solution for that too. I said, let's find the people here in like St. Louis. We have a bunch of people like those two boys that raped that girl, and they weren't even here legally. The guy that was driving drunk, and they're saying, well, we can put him in a program. And I'm like, why put him in a program? He was here illegally. He was driving drunk. He didn't have a license. He didn't have insurance, and the car wasn't his. How many felonies does he have to commit before we say, oh, we're going to put you in jail? So I figure if that's the kind of people that these people are going to protect, why don't we just load them onto buses and run them out to California to the 9th District out there and park them in front of that judge who said that Trump was wrong.
Just drop him off, yeah.
And just unload them in front of the guy's houses. Here they are.
Keith, I think you're onto something. Thanks for the call. Yeah, there's a thought. Round them up and drop them off in the sanctuary city. And then they'll want more tax money to take care of them. That's part of the problem with with that theory. Great point. I tell you what, I got to get to a break. Zach, I want to get to your call if you can hold on. 314-969-9797. And in my next segment here, I'm going to get to Adam Michael, who's a policy analyst who's been taking a look at the tax plan that the Trump's administration rolled out yesterday. Meanwhile, Sean Spicer has taken the podium in the White House for the daily press briefing. Lots of questions about Michael Flynn today, it looks like. Frank Ladd's back there recording some of that. We'll let you listen to it when we come back.
This is the Mark Cox Show. Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
After a wet afternoon yesterday, we've got a dry day on this Thursday. A little cool for this time of year, 65. Tonight, lots of clouds, 52. Friday, couple of scattered thunderstorms here and there, 72. Expects a fair amount of dry time, but an uptick in the rain and thunderstorms Friday night and looking like a very wet weekend. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray for FM News Talk 97.1.
It's important for a lot of us to know that if we're going to buy a product and we have an option to buy a product that is made in America, we like to do that. If you see something and you have the option to do that, why wouldn't you do that? So when it comes time to redo your kitchen countertops, your bathroom countertops, Granite Transformations is a product you need to look at. Just if for no other reason, the fact that it's made in a factory right here in the United States, and then it's exported. Plus, on top of that, it's beautiful, and it comes with a lifetime warranty. And where else are you going to get that? You don't have to seal it. So it's a Granite product, but you don't have to seal it. It's shock resistant. It's heat, stain, scratch, bacteria resistant, good enough for use in a commercial restaurant if need be. Plus, if let's say you're upgrading, maybe you've got granite, you want to go to a different look. They've got a great marbled look that you can buy, a quartz, recycled glass, tile mosaic backsplashes, just beautiful in a variety of colors that are bound to fit the scheme you're looking for in your kitchen or your bathroom. Granite Transformations, they have a showroom in the Valley right next to Espino's on Chesterfield Airport Road. You can call them at 636-728-1100 or go to their website at granitetransformations.com.
Families choose Parc Provence for quality assisted living with memory care. Your loved one will feel at home, enjoying a comfortable lifestyle while thriving in our engaging community. Residents at Parc Provence are our first priority. We help you enjoy peace of mind and get the most out of life because every moment matters. Go to visitparc.com. That's visitparc.com or call Karen to schedule a tour, 314-549-1050.
Hey, would you buy a house without looking inside? Well, of course not. Well, shouldn't you be just as diligent when choosing a financial advisor? Hey, it's Sean Hannity here, and just as a house is more than four walls, well, a financial advisor is more than just a nice office. Now, what's their background? Do they work in your best interest as a fiduciary? What's their financial specialty? Now, you want to know all these things because the chances are over your lifetime, you're going to trust them with far more than the value of your home because knowledge and experience count for a lot in retirement income planning. Here in St. Louis, you need to know Ken and Lori Heisey and the team at the Heisey Advisory Group. Call them now at 314-328-6000. That's 314-328-6000. Don't be cavalier with your financial assets. Heisey Advisory Group, 314-328-6000.
Investment advisory services offered through Global Financial Private Capital, LLC. Securities offered through GF Investment Services, member FINRA SIPC.
Listen up, men. This is the St. Louis Men's Clinic. You've heard our ads on the radio, you've seen our commercials on TV, and you've seen us in the sports section of the newspaper, so you know what we do. Our physicians specialize in treating erectile dysfunction and premature issues in men of all ages. That's what we do all day, every day. So you've probably heard our ads thousands of times. The other times you were just listening to our ads, we were helping thousands of other men recover their sex life. While you were only watching our commercials, these men took action and have the intimacy back in their relationship. Don't wait until it's too late. Do something about your issue today and move from skeptic to believer. We have a $199 office visit right now. Appointments fill fast. Call now, 314-828-2600. That's 314-828-2600. Call 314-828-2600. And don't forget to ask about our new revolutionary Priapus shot.
You're out for a stroll with the family when you suddenly smell rotten eggs.
Ew, Mom. Jacob stinks.
That's not Jacob. Then you see a cloud of dust swirling around the air.
Ooh, what's that?
Back up, kid. Then you hear a hissing sound.
A snake!
Not a snake. A hissing sound, swirling dirt, or rotten egg odor can mean there's a natural gas leak. Natural gas lines can be buried anywhere. If you suspect a gas leak, leave immediately and call your local gas company. Go to mostsafegas.com for safety tips.
Thank God for the Founding Fathers.
Mark Levin.
It is they who wrote that Declaration of Independence.
Weeknights, 9 to midnight.
The right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Mark Levin.
On FM News Talk.
FM News Talk 97.1.
Listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Mark Cox Show.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
All right, welcome back to the show. I couldn't help it. I told Liz I'm just sort of in a mood for some AC/DC today, so we've made a few selections off their Highway to Hell album. Couldn't help it. Sometimes that's why it delays us getting back from a break, because I'm playing air guitar and I have to wait till the riff is over. I'm just kidding. All right. Glad you're back with us. Time to talk the president's tax plan and get a few more details on what it is, what it isn't. I mean, I know there's some things still out there that we're not sure of at this point. Our guest right now is Adam Michel, who is a policy analyst at the Rowe Institute at Heritage. And Adam, we appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Well, absolutely. So, I watched this live as Steve Mnuchin and Gary Cohn announced it yesterday, and I've read a few articles on it so far. I mean, I've called it a step in the right direction. There's some things about it I'm not happy with. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It shows President Trump's commitment to cutting taxes for Americans. It's a sort of great way to set the goalposts for the direction we want to be moving. If he sets out simplifying the individual tax code, consolidating tax brackets, lowering rates. He proposes a 15% business tax rate, which is badly needed. The United States currently has the highest corporate income tax rate in the world, and that is driving businesses and out of the country and keeping growth down. So by moving in this direction, hopefully we can get the economy growing again and get more money back in Americans' pockets.
Right. So I was thinking about that yesterday because the top tax rate on businesses has been about the same since Ronald Reagan left office, and in the meantime we've had at least 16 years of Democrats in the White House. So I'm not surprised, I guess, that they didn't try to do something about it. But in the meantime, over that 30-year period, countries around the world have lowered their taxes. I just don't know why it's taken us so long to get around to doing this.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. All of our competitors around the world have been systematically lowering their corporate tax rate, which we've seen in like the UK and Canada have lowered their rates, and they've seen growth from businesses moving into their countries. They've seen tax revenue actually go up in some cases because of the economic growth and businesses moving back into their country. And when businesses are investing and growing in your country, it results in more jobs and higher wages. And so it's well beyond time that the United States sort of follows suit and reforms our business tax code, so that we can compete with all the other countries around the world.
Let's talk about the changes for individuals. A reduction of the tax brackets to 3. I still think 35 is too high, but that's one of them. But they also talked about stopping or eliminating most deductions other than the big ones like mortgage and charity and maybe retirement savings. Boy, that flow through losses from LLCs, write-offs for home offices. I mean, do we really know all those details yet of what all they're eliminating?
We don't. There's a lot of sort of details that are missing from the announcement yesterday. On the individual side, I believe they specifically said that they'll be eliminating targeted tax breaks that benefit the wealthiest taxpayers. It's on the business side where they talk about eliminating sort of wholesale all of the special tax breaks. So it's sort of yet to be seen what exactly is captured in each of those buckets.
Yeah. They talked about reducing the regulations regarding tax. I mean, when it comes to tax reform, I think you fail if at the end of it, the book describing the tax laws in the country is still taller than the average human being. I mean, I don't know how much of that they're going to affect with this plan. Do you have a feel for that?
Yeah, I mean, all of the special credits, deductions, exemptions, although, yes, they do benefit some people, whether it's your sort of whatever your favorite write-off is, each of those things adds to that complexity.
Right.
It adds to the length of the tax code. So if we can get rid of those, even though some people may see that deduction go away, if we can get rid of all of those special provisions that apply to just a handful of people, and to lower the rate and consolidate some of those brackets, the hope is that more people will come out ahead. And then there's the sort of icing on the cake that economic growth will be unleashed by sort of a lot of these tax reforms, and that will also benefit Americans across the board.
Yeah, and I believe that when you put more money back in their money back in their pockets where it belongs, and they can spend it as they see fit, you're going to stimulate the economy. I don't think there's any doubt about that, and I'm thrilled that they're doing that. About the AMT, and I think that a lot of people don't have a real good grasp on what that is, but it's been around for a long time. There's been talk of getting rid of it, but nobody's ever had the guts to do it. It's the alternative minimum tax. In other words, if you figure out enough loopholes in the tax law to bring your tax burden below a certain point, this AMT kicks in and you're going to have to pay some minimum amount of taxes, correct?
Yeah, that's basically the way it works, and it's another one of these complexities that we can, if we get rid of, it will simplify the tax code. When you're filling out your tax return, you have to almost calculate your taxes twice. If you use all the exemptions and deductions, and then you hit the AMT threshold, you then have to recalculate your taxes under this alternative scenario, and that makes filing taxes more difficult. Often you don't know how much you're going to owe until you get to the very end of the process. And so one of the great things about eliminating a lot of the special provisions in the tax code is that you don't need the AMT, that more people will just be paying the similar rate.
Yeah. Let me get to the death tax real quick. Actually, Chris Wallace is a regular guest on our morning show here on Thursdays, and this morning he was talking about the death tax, and he said, I realized that the death tax in America, you can have an estate up to $5 million, and the tax doesn't kick in until after that. And his argument was, who couldn't get by on $5 million? And my argument is, if my family has built a farm or a business that happens to be valued at more of that than at the day they died, they've already paid taxes on that. Why should the government get to still be able to take half of your stuff just because you've accumulated a lot? I don't think that's fair. I don't care if you've got $5 million or $5. Nobody should be able to take half of it.
Yeah, I think the way you laid it out there was great. It's both the just because when you're trying to hand your sort of life legacy onto your children, the government shouldn't be involved in that decision. But also that you've already paid taxes on all of that accumulated wealth. That if I'm pulling a paycheck my entire life and I save a a little bit each year that I want to give to my kids, or it's wrapped up in a family house or a farm. When I pass away and want to hand that to my kids, I've already paid taxes on that, and the government really shouldn't have a claim to taxing it again, double taxing it, or even triple taxing it in some cases.
Yeah, and the argument on the left is always, that you didn't earn that, or you didn't build that, or whatever the case may be, and you owe that back to the government. That's just moving the money from one pile into somebody else's pocket, and that's something I've always been opposed to. So when do you expect we may get more details on this, more specifics? Do you have any idea?
They haven't really said in the rollout. They said they'll be holding meetings and listening sessions to get feedback on the plan, working with Congress, and the House GOP has a plan out as well. So I'm sure there'll be discussions and reconciling the differences, and then they'll move on from there.
All right, very good. Adam Michelle with the Roe Institute at Heritage. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care. You can find out more about Adam's thoughts on this at heritage.org. Let me get to Zach. Zach, I only got about a minute left in this segment, but I didn't want you to have to hold on again through the break. What's on your mind?
Sure, I'll be as brief as I can. As usual, I'll call on to question you about the Constitution. So, briefly, I just want to put it out there for you to discuss, and everyone, well, for one, healthcare, I don't see anything in the Constitution that gives them a right to replace. They definitely should repeal.
Yeah.
It was always unconstitutional. They don't have any business in healthcare. And that brings me to the more important point. The Federal Reserve and the federal income tax is also very unconstitutional, and that's actually specifically outlined in the Constitution.
Well,
And to that point, they'll say, we had an amendment. But if you look at the records, only 38 states ratified the Federal Reserve.
Zach, I got to run. I appreciate you bringing that up. Maybe we can happy to take phone calls on it in the next hour. We're going to talk to John Karch from Americans for Tax Reform, and your phone calls after the break.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Naputi Wellness, NaputiWellnessCenter.com.
Hey, it's starting to be that time of year when you want to get outdoors with your family on the weekends, or maybe go for a ride on the Katy Trail. And if you're going down Highway 94 toward wine country there around Defiance, I want to tell you about my friends at the Sugar Creek Winery. It's convenient. Honestly, it's one of the first wineries you're going to come to as you leave Defiance. You know where I'm talking about, that big bend in the road down there. Ken and Becky Miller have turned this place into something spectacular. They've got venues for weddings. They've got outdoor music on the weekends. Even if it's raining, they've got a big undercover patio where the music continues. This is a working winery where you can find your favorite wines. They don't serve food, so feel free to bring a picnic basket or whatever makes you happy. Stop and see them at Sugar Creek Winery. Go to their website at sugarcreekwines.com or call them at 636-987-2400.
It's the place there's no place else like. Home. It's the circle of chairs around your fire pit, where all the do you remembers get passed around like bowls of ice cream. It's bacon and eggs in the skillet, crackling along with the laughter. It's the picture in the hall of your great-grandfather, whose mustache he willed to your son.
At Shelter Insurance, we don't just insure your home, we insure all the memories that live inside it. Find an agent near you at shelterinsurance.com. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
You're seeing it on social media? Real estate agents are yelling it from practically every rooftop. And it's true. Buyers can't find homes. And if you're a seller, that's great news for you. Home inventory right now is extremely low. I'm Christina Straight, and I'm the owner of Straight Realty. And I'll get your home listed on the MLS for only 4%. Listing for 4% doesn't make you cheap. It just makes you smart. Why pay more than 4? Call 314-441-4444. 441-4444.
It's the final days of Mattress Firm's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's your last chance to save up to 70% off Tempur-Pedic and Sealy. Plus, take up to $2,000 off floor models from Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, Hampton & Rhodes, and others. We're liquidating every Tempur-Pedic and Sealy in stock to make room for the next generation of innovative sleep products. Only at your local Mattress Firm while supplies last. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offer and prices may vary in Hawaii.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly, St. Louis's home loan expert. There's a lot of choices out there when it comes to refinancing or buying a home. What makes the Home Loan Expert team the best? Well, that's easy. Lower rates, better loans, no out-of-pocket cost, and you can skip a few months of mortgage payments. Refinancing or buying a home? Why would you go anywhere else? Call me directly, 314-781-9700. Or you can always apply online at thehomeloanexpert.com. The Home Loan Expert, LLC. Missouri Residential Mortgage Licensee.
KFTK FM, Florissant. KFTK AM, East St. Louis. K254CR, St. Louis.
The Mark Cox Show, brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of The Mark Cox Show.
Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. FM News Talk 97.1.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. Police in Delaware just confirming that the man who killed a state trooper in a convenience store parking lot yesterday fired multiple rounds at close range after the trooper had fallen to the ground. Governor John Carney moments ago.
This is a very sad day. I stand before you with an aching heart.
He's urging people to be mindful of the risks officers face every day. The suspect was shot and killed in another confrontation with troopers today following an all-night standoff at his home. A baby girl reported missing in Illinois is found dead in her own home. Fox Radio's Jeff Manasso live in Chicago.
Lisa, the search began Tuesday for 16-month-old Samaj Crosby, who family members say wandered off from their home in Joliet Township. That's also described as filthy and filled with squatters.
We were interviewing the mother at one point in the morning, and that's when the lawyer interjected himself in the case and cut us off. And at that point, he told us we were not allowed in the residence without a search warrant.
Will County Deputy Chief Rick Ackerson says they were later given access to the home where the girl's body was found. An autopsy is planned. No one is charged right now in what police call a suspicious death investigation. Lisa.
Thanks, Jeff. The White House facing another round of questions about fired National Security Advisor Michael Flynn and denies trying to hide anything.
When General Flynn came into the White House, he had an active security clearance that was issued during the Obama administration with all of the information that's being discussed that occurred in 2015.
White House spokesman Sean Spicer moments ago. Flynn's accused of failing to disclose payments from Russia for consulting work. Facebook making a stand against fake news with new measures aimed at cracking down on efforts by governments or non-state actors to sway public opinion with disinformation campaigns. A report from Facebook's top security and intelligence team says they'll monitor suspicious activity. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Blue the dog here for propane. Making the rounds with my owner, the propane man, has allowed me to see a lot. I may just be a simple dog. I didn't attend the elite boarding kennels, and you'll never see me on Barking with the Stars. But I do know that propane is the smart fuel that lets millions of Americans live where they want and how they want. It's clean, reliable, and powers modern appliances from tankless water heaters to high-efficiency furnaces. Learn more at proudlypropane.com.
Here's a little ditty about that John Deere mower deck that mows faster, better. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. If you just mow fast but your yard looks bad, then you got a lot of ugly grass. You need a John Deere to take care of your yard. You need a Z-Track Z3 45R. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. The XL deck's got more capacity for yards like yours that get to grassity. Want to mow well in a higher gear? See a John Deere dealer, nothing runs like a deer.
97.1 News Time 103. Good afternoon. I'm Jason Church. Police are investigating a triple homicide in Pine Lawn. 3 men were shot to death yesterday in the 4500 block of Rosewood Avenue. The victims were identified as Calvin Walker and Andrew Green, both 29, and 23-year-old Marquise Cooper. The suspects are still at large, and detectives are looking for 2 vehicles they believe are connected to the shooting. State employees will earn their pensions in half the time it used to take after the State House voted yesterday. A plan calling for employees of 5 years to get pensions at age 67 was introduced by Representative Mike Bernskotter after it was uncovered that Missouri state employees were the lowest paid in the nation. Goalie Jake Allen is taking the heat for the loss to the Predators last night. Allen said that a little mistake by him cost the team while speaking to the press last night after the game, talking about the PK Subban goal that got by him. Head coach Mike Yeo said that the entire team dug itself into a hole in the second period. For in-depth coverage on these stories and more, go to 971talk.com/news.
Who says game food has to end with wings? Head to Buffalo Wild Wings and try the Kickin' Shrimp Tacos, packed with popcorn, shrimp, and coleslaw, or the ultimate cheese sampler for any game that's on. And they're all on. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Hey folks, Allman here for Mid-America Arms, and I can tell you as an avid customer, these guys are awesome. I have purchased 3 guns from them. I have my awesome Ruger American 45, which is a brand new line. I have my trusty 38, and of course my amazing Kel-Tec Bullpup. It's a 15-round 12-gauge shotgun. I appreciate the quality of their guns. I appreciate the great discounts they have. I appreciate their trade-in policy. I appreciate the fact that their people do not work in any way, shape, or form on commission, so you're getting the straight scoop all the time. MidAmericaArms.com, right there in beautiful Afton on Gravois, MidAmericaArms.com.
Stop by today and take advantage of the Smith & Wesson mail-in rebate offer on any new M&P Shield, M&P Body Gear 380, or S&W pistols. All products carry a lifetime warranty and is some of the best gear on the market. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details or check out MidAmericaArms.com for more details.
Looking for a dentist that provides personalized care and amazing results? Well, look no further. Hi, I'm Dr. Stacey Ochoa here from Precision Dental. From one-day crowns to orthodontics, we combine our expertise with compassion and evaluate each case so our patients receive results they deserve. We believe dental care should be available for everyone and offer a savings plan with no deductible or waiting period to provide affordable dental care for those without insurance. Located in Imperial, call us at 636-461-2255 or visit myprecisiondental.com.
The Honda Dream Garage sales event is back, just in time to enjoy spring in your favorite kind of Honda. Whether that's the spring getaway kind of Honda or the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on the 2017 Honda Civic. That's the Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com overall best buy kind of Honda.
Make your dream a reality at Frank Lita Honda with 0.9% financing on most new Hondas.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co. Inc.
Well, despite today's weather, it's definitely, there's a warming trend going on. We know that, right? So if you're planning outside fix-ups around the house, and painting is one of them, call Darren at Rhino Shield. Let him come over and show you this product, which is really just revolutionary in terms of the fact that you don't have to paint again for, 25 years or so after you use it. That's the idea behind Rhino Shield. It puts a ceramic coating on the outside of your house. It protects it from rain, protects it from moisture during the winter, protects it from sun. Did you realize that UV rays and rain are the 2 things that do the most damage to the outside of your house? And you put this coating on there, and it protects it. They've even got a white version of this coating for the tops of businesses that it can cut down on your heating and cooling bills because of the color. Plus, it's so protectant that it seals up your roof from leaks or anything like that. So you can talk to Darren about all of that. He's happy to come over and show you pictures of work they've done on other homes. They're even doing work on condos and stuff at the Lake of the Ozarks. You're going to want to call them soon. They're booking up for spring and summer. Ask for their spring special savings program. Call them at 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of the Mark Cox Show.
The Mark Cox Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we need from a conservative standpoint is
The Mark Cox Show.
I respect that. We don't agree.
Listen to both sides.
Let's get it on. Is The Mark Cox Show.
I think the president wants a vote and wants a health care system as soon as possible, but that's going to be dictated by the speaker, the majority leader, and the majority whip in the House when they feel they have the votes. That being said, as we've now maintained for the last several days, we feel very positive about the work that's being done to get to that and the reaction that we're having. As you recall, there was a lot of members that had initially had some problems, and we're very pleased with the reaction, the public reaction that they are having to what is currently been negotiated, and I think it's only getting bigger, and that's welcome news.
Well, that's Sean Spicer, who just wrapped up his briefing at the White House a short time ago. Obviously, he took questions on the health care vote. How soon might it come? If you didn't hear the latest genius from the left, Chuck Schumer's now said that they may not allow the short-term spending bill to go through if the Republicans try to force a quick vote on health care. So it's their last-ditch effort to salvage Obamacare by threatening to shut down the government. Yeah, that's right. Democrats threatening to shut down the government. Shoe is on the other foot, I guess, here, huh? Also, and I think this is important because we've been talking about it a lot since the show went on the air an hour ago, and that's the tax plan and what impact that's going to have. And because you heard me say earlier, we don't have a lot of details yet on what's deductible and what's not going to be deductible. I thought this was interesting, Liz. Let's go to cut number 21. Sean Spicer taking a question on 401k contributions, because you realize most of those contributions you make right now are with pre-tax dollars. So you're not taxed on that portion of your income that's going straight into a 401k. Listen.
Can you lay out what the president's vision is for 401ks and particularly tax deductions surrounding those? Does the president imagine removing those deductions entirely along with the other deductions, or is he going to protect those?
So the Secretary of the Treasury and Director Cohen yesterday both talked about that the current plan right now both protects charitable giving and mortgage interest, and that's it. As we move forward with negotiations in the House and the Senate, that plan will continue to flesh out. But one of the benefits of the tax plan on the individual side in particular is by expanding the standard deduction to $24,000 for a married couple. That really effectively creates a bracket of zero taxes for many, many Americans, and that's good news.
See, now that's news to me, because maybe I misunderstood them yesterday when they were discussing what would still be deductible, even though they were eliminating a lot of things. So this is, I'd say details are still to come, and bear in mind that you always shoot for the stars and expect to get something less than that, because there will be a lot of special interests fighting to retain either certain tax breaks or certain benefits for their companies, their industries, their whatever the case may be. Everything from the H&R Block accountant lobbyist all the way down. So this won't be the final version of it, but that's interesting to hear him say that. I mean, that, depending on how much of your income you're putting away into a 401k, and there is a limit, pre-tax, that could reduce your tax burden fairly significantly in the course of a year. So I'm a little surprised that's one that they're wanting to eliminate. Regardless, we're still finding out. This is sort of a work in progress, I guess you could say. We're joined right now by John Karch. He's the Vice President of Communications for the Americans for Tax Reform, of course, headed by Grover Norquist, who people see on the networks all the time talking about tax issues. John, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for giving us some time today. Trying to get different perspectives on people's reaction to this tax plan. I don't know about you. That sound I just played from Sean Spicer, that was a detail I didn't have before now. Maybe I misunderstood what they said yesterday on the 401k issue, for example.
Yeah, my understanding is when this is all said and done, there'll still be charitable mortgage interest and then retirement will still be there. But for most of these deductions and credits that people plan their lives around, businesses around, the tax reform plan is going to be so powerful and so dramatic that it's going to basically wipe out all this. You'll end up in a better position because the tax cuts are so significant, and the simplification is so significant that it's not even going to be a concern for most people.
Well, no, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So but just real quick on the contours. So we got the highest corporate rate in the world. That hurts jobs. That hurts economic growth. That hurts wages. We're at 35. We've been stuck there for 30 years. We're going to bring that down to 15. Europe's at 19%. How are we supposed to compete at 35% when Europe's at 19%? The developed world is at 25% on average. We're stuck at 35, okay? What Trump wants to do is have all business income face a taxation rate of 15%. For pass-through businesses, so this could be a sole proprietorship or a partnership or an LLC, S corporation, this is a lot of small businesses. That is as high as 44% right now. That would also go down to 15. That's extremely pro-growth. And then you also have us with a 70,000-page tax code right now. We wipe out a lot of this stuff. It's just going to be easier to file.
Okay.
They're talking about a postcard. They're talking about 3 brackets instead of 7. We're getting rid of the death tax. We'll kill the AMTs. You don't have to do your taxes twice. And also with the doubling of the standard exemption, you don't have to sit there and figure that out twice either, because it's just going to be easy for you to take the standard deduction because it's going to be twice as big. So those are the big kind of outlines of the plan right now.
You at Americans for Tax Reform, you guys have laid out a plan or a path for what tax reform should look like for a long time. Are there parallels? Are there places where what ATR might prefer kind of deviate from what the Trump administration's done here?
Actually, no. And we've worked with the Trump administration both when they were back in the Trump campaign in 2015 and 16, and then with the White House, worked with them very well, and also with the leadership. And the funny thing is, Democrats do not want tax reform. They have zero interest in this because they want to raise taxes, and they don't want to make things simpler because they want to plan your life. They want you to plan your life around government. So, but what's interesting is that the House Republicans, who are writing this plan traditionally, and the Trump administration and Trump team have moved toward each other on tax reform over the months. They've gotten tighter on the broad contours of this plan. So there's going to be some give and take back and forth, on this, but ultimately this is, it's written technically by the House. The broad lines are there on this, and in the coming months, you're going to see the establishment press, you're going to see the Democrats trying to declare this dead. They're going to run over anybody with a camera and a microphone. They're going to find one person or some lobbyist who says they want to stop this and make it sound like this is where it's at. But this is going to get done. The American people want this so bad. We're getting crushed, by other countries economically, and we can't just keep going with a stupid tax code that's 70,000 pages long. So at the end of the day, this thing is going to get done. It's going to get done this year. It's going to unleash growth, and it's going to lead to a lot more jobs.
Let's talk for a moment about the doubling of these standard deductions. So it's going to go from, what, $12,500 to $24,000, $25,000 for a couple? What does that mean on paper? I mean, obviously you owe 0% on the first $24,000 that you earn, but it strikes me that the bigger issue here is going to be where they draw the lines for these brackets. At which point do you jump from 10 to 25%?
Hey, good question. That actually hasn't been fleshed out yet in the Trump plan, and that's something that they're going to have to do back and forth, through the next weeks and actually months of public feedback, committee hearings, and things like that. So we don't know where exactly that's going to fall. That said, it's just going to be a lot easier to do, and you're going to have a lot less. One thing, I think this is going to defang a lot of the lobbyists who run around town here trying to preserve their little section of the tax code, because it makes them less valuable when they're trying to sell. They're like, oh, I'll get you this special deal in the tax code.
Okay.
Well, they're going to be less valuable because the standard exemption is going to be so much higher. So all their little carve-outs that they put in over the years to deal with our stupid tax system are going to be half as less valuable. So I think it's going to take care of a great part of the problem.
Yeah, and I had a guest on earlier who was an economist who was looking at getting rid of the AMT, which they've tried to do for years, and for some reason they've never been able to, and eliminating this death tax, which I know a lot of politicians have talked about over the years, but they've raised it high enough now that it doesn't affect most Americans, admittedly.
Yeah,
but it still impacts farm.
Real quick, they always say, only X percentage of people pay the death tax. Well, you know what? You know how many people are affected by the death tax? People have to plan around it. They have to think about it. They have to stress about it. It's hard enough you lose a family member and you got to sit there and for years think about how you're going to plan that financially. It affects a lot more people than just the people who pay it, not to mention the people who lose a job once a business is busted up. But anyway, sorry about that.
Well, no. I was just going to say, but I think it's ridiculous that they're getting taxed twice anyway. If they've earned or grown this business or this family farm to a certain size where it's increased in value, that it's worth more than $5.3 million or $10 million if it's a couple. I don't agree that they should be taxed twice. I mean, that's just an effort to take from the rich and give to the poor. It's just moving money around in the pot.
It's an envy tax, and you know what? Sweden got rid of their death tax over 10 years ago, and if Sweden can get rid of their death tax and do just fine, then the United States of America can do the same.
Yeah, very true. I'll ask you the same question I asked my guest earlier. Do we have a feel for when more details might be released? Because my understanding is they're not looking to really have this fight until maybe August.
Yeah, I think it was smart the way they did it yesterday, because they're laying out broad themes, and it forced the establishment press to actually cover the tax system as it is now. And I thought that was very successful and very well done, just to remind people where we're at, and we're going to get more details as we move along in the coming weeks. one important thing, you'd mentioned healthcare in the tee-up to this segment. It is very important to get rid of these Obamacare taxes now because there's $1 trillion of tax increases in Obamacare every decade. So we need to get rid of those. We need to abolish all of them so that we get $1 trillion closer to what an ideal tax reform statue of Zeus, so to speak, would look like. So we need to get that out. Also, Obamacare is $1 trillion in spending over 10 years. So if we get this bill through in the next couple of weeks, then tax reform looks that much clearer, and we have 20 Obamacare taxes just gone, so we can kind of more closely focus on the tax code. But I think you're looking at sometime in the fall before this thing gets done.
Yeah, probably. John, one last question. Of course, they're already rolling out the trickle down claims and all this on the left. How realistic is it if we get the kind of bump we're expecting from businesses and individuals having extra money in their pocket to plan on 3.5% growth? Because at that point, it does pay for itself in some fashion, and if it gets up to 4%, the deficit drops pretty significantly.
It's going to be amazing. I mean, there is so much pent-up demand for this. There's so much capital and decisions being made on the sideline that are on the sideline right now because people have been waiting for this for a long time. You give people certainty, I think it's going to unleash tremendous growth. I think 4% is absolutely possible. And as a side benefit of that does throw off a lot of revenue to the government, for people concerned about that. So I think this is going to be excellent when it's all said and done. It's going to be declared dead 100 times between now and the fall, but we just got to keep going. So.
That's a good point, and we appreciate Americans for Tax Reform out there fighting for whatever version we end up with when this is all over with. John Karch with Americans for Tax Reform. I'll direct people to your website, atr.org. Thank you.
Hey, it's been a pleasure. Thanks
all right,
a lot.
John. Yep. Thank you for joining us to give people a little different perspective there. So we know the folks from ATR are in favor of this general outline we've seen. Folks at Heritage seem pretty enthused. There's still a few folks out there who aren't sold on it yet. And then there are the Democrats, which is a whole different story. 314-969-9797. And get some of your phone calls here when we come back. Couple of big stories that we really haven't had a chance to talk about yet, and I want to get to those when we come back. Did you see what's gone on again at Fox News? Did you see the headlines yesterday of the lawsuits that have been filed at Fox News? I bet there's something you didn't see related to that. Be willing to bet my bottom dollar on it. I'll take your phone calls on that and much more. Still ahead today, we're going to talk to the folks from Young America's Foundation. They're the ones that Ann Coulter is now blaming for her canceling her speech. We'll let them tell us their point of view on that. We'll be back with much more after this.
The Mark Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com.
Do you stream FM News Talk 97.1 on your phone? Check out Next Radio. It's an FM tuner built into your phone, so you can stop using up data and save your battery. More details at 97.1talk.com/nextradio.
You've heard me tell you about the Father Support Center and what great work they've done, helping a number as large as 14,000 men become better dads. And in return, of course, they're helping their families as they become better dads. What the Father Support Center wants to do is recognize these people who have overcome the odds to get back on their feet and contribute to their family's well-being. So right now, they're going to be handing out a Father of the Year award in St. Louis to recognize one of their graduates as the Father of the Year. You can nominate one of these three candidates who's up for the annual award. All of these men graduated from the organization's Family Formation Program, and they are leading better lives for the betterment of their children. They're all great, but only one is going to be the Father of the Year. So go to the FathersSupportCenter.org, FathersSupportCenter.org, read the candidate bios, and cast your vote. It'll be awarded in June. FathersSupportCenter.org.
At Ruth's Chris, we are honored to make your birthday extra special. Celebrate with a glass of our award-winning wine and a great steak, served sizzling on a 500-degree plate. Special is Ruth's specialty. Make your reservations at ruthschrisstlouis.com. Enjoy cocktails and conversation at Ruth's Chris. And when you're ready to enjoy the tastes that made Ruth's Chris famous, order our signature steak, served sizzling on a 500-degree plate. Find menu items and more at ruthschrisstlouis.com.
Cast off the everyday. Seek adventure, explore new roads. Plaza Land Rover has just what you need to escape the backyard and embrace the backcountry. Right now, lease a 2017 Land Rover Discovery Sport for just $385 a month. Go above and beyond at Land Rover St. Louis, a Plaza Motor Company. 39-month lease, 0 security deposit, $34.95 cash down, $7.95 acquisition fee, and first month's payment of $385. Excludes retailer fees, taxes, title, and registration fees for well-qualified lessees. See dealer for details. Offer expires 4/30/17.
Hey, St. Louis, if you have not checked out the newest Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Brentwood, you are missing out. It's like a sports bar for your head. Get an unbelievable haircut, hot lather, neck shave, and hot towel treatment for just $12. It's on Hanley Road, just south of Highway 40 in front of Menards. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men has won double-digit men's styling awards, and their talented stylists are delivering the best haircuts in all of St. Louis. It's in Brentwood on Hanley Road, just south of Highway 40 in front of Menards. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men in Brentwood, it's wicked awesome.
Are hot flashes interrupting your sleep and causing next day fatigue? This is Dr. Joe Ojow with the Clayton Sleep Institute. Menopause causes major hormonal, physical, and psychological change for women. Many menopausal women experience poor sleep quality due to insomnia. If you're getting less than adequate sleep, call us at 314-645-5855 or visit claytonsleep.com. Clayton Sleep Institute for better sleep and better life.
Hey guys, it's Church here from Martin & Sons, and I was looking at the forecast, and this weekend we're supposed to get like 4+ inches of rain over the next couple of days, and that is not a good thing, especially when your siding isn't up to date, especially when you need new windows, if you have any leaks anywhere. Always a challenge. Make sure you give Martin & Sons a call. Martin & Sons has been around St. Louis since 1953. They've got an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, absolutely 0 complaints on them, and they've done thousands of homes in the St. Louis area. You can go on their Facebook page or their website to check out all the different jobs that they've done. They've got some great pictures up there and also some great testimonials as well. One of the best parts about dealing with Martin & Sons, aside from the great craftsmanship and the great work they do, is the fact that you don't have to pay anything up front. They won't take any money from you until the job's done. Make sure you give Martin & Sons a call, 314-839-0700, or you can visit them online at www.martinandsons-stl.com.
Check out our newest web video series, Annie Got Your Gun. Join Annie from The Annie Fry Show as she goes through the steps of purchasing her first handgun and getting the proper training. Watch now at 971talk.com. Brought to you by Southern Armory and U.S. Law Shield.
Show. Follow Mark on Twitter at MarkCox971.
Let's walk through that for a second. General Flynn was a career military officer who maintained a high-level security clearance throughout his career in the military. His clearance was last reissued by the Obama administration in 2016 with full knowledge of his activities that occurred in 2015, as you point out. So the issue is, he was issued a security clearance under the Obama administration in the spring of 2016. The trip and transactions that you're referring to occurred in December of 2015, from what I understand. So, obviously, there's an issue that, as you point out, the Department of Defense Inspector General is looking into. We welcome that, but all of that clearance was made by during the Obama administration, and apparently with knowledge of the trip that he took.
And apparently long before he had anything to do with the Donald Trump campaign. So there's the issue. General Flynn apparently received $45,000 in 2015 to go to some gala dinner for a Kremlin-controlled media organization. Now, the problem is the Pentagon has told retiring officers that because they can be recalled to military service, they're prohibited from receiving payments or favors from foreign governments. So that's where they're now investigating Flynn to figure out whether or not he got the required approval before he received that payment. The Democrats would like you to believe this is some other brick they can lob at the Trump administration, but as Sean Spicer put it so eloquently there, his security clearance was renewed by the Obama administration after this had taken place. And whatever it was that took place a year ago in December before Donald Trump even announced that he was running for president. So there's no connection. I don't understand what they're getting at there, but I wanted you to hear part of that from the briefing today because the media is hounding on this Michael Flynn story. And apparently the Pentagon's watchdog group has launched an investigation into whether or not he received the proper their inspector general is going to look into whether or not he received proper approval. So that's that story if you hear it and you're wondering what's going on. Let me get to a couple of phone calls here, and then I want to talk about this what's going on at Fox News and the lawsuits and all that were filed yesterday. Tim, thank you for holding on.
Yes, hi, Mark. Great show, and thank you very much for taking my call.
Thank you, sir.
I want to just make a comment about the Democrats. The Republicans could come out with a no one in America will pay a penny tax. They could change the immigration policy. They can do whatever they want. I think the main point is Democrats are scared to death about losing their voter base because if the Trump administration makes blue-collar union-type workers happy with jobs and the overall American public is happy because they're paying less in taxes, that automatically extracts a large portion of the Democratic voting base, and they're scared to death of losing that. That's why you're seeing so much pushback, especially on those two main issues.
Yeah, they're still smarting from Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan in the election. Right? No, because that's who voted for Trump in those Rust Belt states. And if he delivers them relief in the form of new jobs or tax relief or whatever the case may be, the Democrats don't win those voters back.
No, you're exactly right. And what's so surprising is they still don't realize what's going on with the American people, and they still want the Democratic politicians to control everything that their constituents do, and the people are fighting back. So hopefully any Democrats that are listening realize that you're a pawn right now, and you're at the will of your congressman or senator who really don't care what you pay in taxes or what you think about immigration. All they want is your vote, and that is it. They don't care about anything else. They don't even care about, in my opinion, putting the United States first. They just care about themselves, keeping themselves in office, large speaking fees or whatever else, other benefits they get. They do not care about their constituents or the United States of America first.
Yeah, Tim, thank you for calling. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Great show.
The sad thing about what Tim points out there is that it's been going on for years. That's not to say there aren't politicians in both parties who don't pander. But the bigger issue is, for a lot of folks on the left, it's what is government going to do for me next, and which politician is going to secure it for me, which thereby secures my vote. And when part of that starts to go away, which it could under a couple of these Trump plans, that's a threat. That's what Tim's talking about. I couldn't agree with him more on the fact that at the very top levels of the Democratic Party, it's why you've got the director of the DNC, Tom Perez, traveling the country, tossing curse words at Donald Trump every time he speaks in front of little kids in the audience. You can see children in the audience behind him, and he's dropping F-bombs and S-bombs and all this stuff in front of these kids because he's so angry at the challenge this is going to pose to what has been a big core part of their base for a long time. I mean, the Democratic Party is a patchwork of special interests, and the blue-collar portion of that is a big one. And if they start to lose that, they probably don't have enough votes from some of these other fringe elements, although they're constantly breeding new ideologues on college campuses where they crush conservative speech. Children, parents, protect your children before you send them off to college. Have a good long talk with mine here shortly, who's leaving this summer. Chris, thank you for calling the program. What's on your mind? Are you there?
Hey, Mark.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. I can hear you.
Let me take you off speaker.
All right.
Hey, man, I'm calling you. I'm driving through Tupelo.
Oh,
hey,
wow.
I heard a little bit of your stuff about the death tax. The family farm thing, I kind of looked it up. Less than 1/10 of 1% of family farms actually are $5 million farms. So, the narrative for that is kind of wrong. But I do understand exactly what you're talking about. You shouldn't be taxed twice on your income or your estates or whatever like that. And also, the one thing I also want to say, when President Trump signed the Veterans Choice Act, I'm a veteran, 10 years in the Air Force. I had to use Veterans Choice last February, and it took me 7 months to get knee surgery, to go through all the process, through the VA and through the private health care provider and all that kind of stuff. But I was actually able to get a private doctor and actually got better coverage after the fact. So now that I'm in the system, it's working out a lot better for me, and I think it's going to work out a lot better for our vets.
So you said President Trump, but you said that happened 7 months ago. Did you mean President Obama? Who approved that?
They had started initial programs for Veterans Choice.
Okay.
If you were getting held back more than I think it was 90 days, and I went to the VA at Cochrane, and I had screwed up my knee and went down there, had X-rays. They go, oh yeah, you're fine. They sent me home with a bottle of Advil, and come to find out, like 2 or 3 months later, I had like a severely torn meniscus in my left knee, and so it drug on and drug on and drug on. I had to get MRI, but eventually through the Veterans Choice Program, I was actually able to go to a private doctor, which did the right thing for me, but it just took a while.
Yeah, I see now what you're talking about. So this program already existed, and President Trump extended it.
Yes, he did.
Because it would have expired this August, it looks like. So
yeah. And we're really grateful for it.
Chris, be careful out there on the roads.
Hey, I'm just about to Tuscaloosa, and I'm going to drop for the day.
Hey, have a great day. Thanks for the phone call.
Hey, you too, Mark. Thanks, buddy.
All right, take care. Yeah, back to my comment that Chris brought up on the issue of the death tax. I don't know where most people stand on this. It's not going to affect my family fortune, which is far smaller than $5.5 million. And if you're jealous that somebody's got $5.5 million, and you think you deserve part of it, then therein lies part of the problem. I don't care that all of this my point is all it is a transfer of wealth, which means you think you deserve part of what somebody else has built up. And I stand against that. I don't agree with that. I don't care if the death tax is at $250,000 or $250 million. I still don't think the government should have the right to go in and tax you at 40 or 50% of what you own beyond whatever dollar amount they randomly come up with. I'm glad it's at $5 million. I mean, I think that's not going to affect most people, but why should it affect people who have more than that? And here's all that's done. What is that? Here's all that's done. There must be something here on my computer. I apologize. Scared me to death. Here's all that's done. It has caused people to bend around like pretzels to develop trusts within trusts to protect that money and divide it up before they die. So there are, even as the death tax stands, there are ways around it, and they're legal ways. It's just like Donald Trump said, you know what? If I use the laws that are on the books to avoid paying X amount of dollars in taxes, I haven't done anything wrong. I'm following the rules. People follow the rules now, and there are ways to avoid that death tax if they see it coming down the road. But they shouldn't have to. It's making a lot of lawyers rich, but they shouldn't have to do that, is all I'm saying. I do not believe in this transfer of wealth, which is another reason why I'm not sure anybody should owe 1/3 of their income to the federal government. 314-969-9797, 866-455-9797. I didn't really. I talked too long, and I took those 2 phone calls. I am going to get back to this when I get back from this break. There's been another lawsuit filed against Fox. You probably heard about it yesterday. But there's another part to this story that I think part of it is about race, part of it's about sex. It's a conversation we need to have, and I want you to chime in on it. 314-969-9797.
The temptation when you get the vibration won't do you no good. It won't do you no good. You better start rolling when you hear the man calling. It won't do you no good.
The Mark Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com. Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
After a wet afternoon yesterday, we've got a dry day on this Thursday. A little cool for this time of year, 65. Tonight, lots of clouds, 52. Friday, couple of scattered thunderstorms here and there, 72. Expects a fair amount of dry time, but an uptick in the rain and thunderstorms Friday night, and looking like a very wet weekend. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray for FM News Talk 97.1.
The Mark Cox Show is sponsored in part by Granite Transformations. Let them transform your kitchen, bath, or commercial space. Explore the wide selection of products in their beautiful showroom in Chesterfield or online at granitetransformations.com. They have the perfect solution for your next project. Let me read this testimonial to you from a business owner about why they appreciate what the folks at ThrottleNet do for them. They called with a computer problem. The team immediately resolved it. They were prompt. They were friendly. We've never had this type of experience with any other computer company we have worked with in the past. And very relieved that we heard about ThrottleNet and they were referred to us. You guys are the best. That's a great example. Have you ever had a virus in your computer at home? I have. Have you ever had a hard drive crash? If it's on your personal computer, there's not, sometimes you can recover it, sometimes you can't. At ThrottleNet, they deal with threats to your network every day. And if your network goes down, not your laptop, your network, it costs you money. And you don't want to have to call and wait for a call back. At ThrottleNet, they're on the job 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They've got a support line that you can call, and they will have somebody fix it for you, and you're not under a long-term contract. You can't beat it. Give them a call at 866-826-5966, or you can always go to their website and sign up for their ENTV updates that they'll email to you at throttlenet.com.
Why buy one when you can buy two? Two new Kias for $222 per month at Suntrup Kia. We've been challenged to break a sales record. The only way we can do it is by offering you the best deals of the year. Get a new 2017 Forte, Optima, or Soul for $111. A deal so good, why not mix and match any two for $222 per month? That's right, the 2017 Kia Soul, highest ranked compact multi-purpose vehicle in initial quality by J.D. Power 2016. Just $111 per month. Why not get two for $222? Bad credit? Don't sweat it. We have financing options for everyone. So get out of your old trade at Suntrup Kia, paid for or not, and get an amazing deal today. Suntrup Kia in South County or centrally located on Manchester Road. Approved credit leases based on 36-month with $2,000 due at signing, plus tax, license, acquisition fee. Zero security deposit, negative equity applied to new loan. Payment includes all available factory rebates. For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Offers not in combination. Expires end of month.
Someone wise once made the observation, out of sight, out of mind. Who was this sage individual? Ironically, no one knows. Just someone who should have heeded their own advice. For example, they could have used a business card. Or two. Which brings us to the UPS store. We can help you print everything from business cards to brochures and posters to menus. And we have a huge variety of paper stocks and finishing options. Because people are much more likely to remember your name if they can see it. Every business has a story to tell. Want the world to know yours? No problem. United Problem Solvers. Come see us at the UPS Store. The UPS Store franchise locations are independently owned and operated. Services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
At Johnsonville, our people are responsible for everything, even telling you when it's time to break out the grill for spring. Here's Teresa with a poem to remind you it's grilling season.
Hi, I'm Teresa, and I've been a Johnsonville member for almost 2 years, and this is my Johnsonville poem. Ode to a Brat. There's nothing more lovely than a grill after winter's long cold chill. There's so many brats to savor. The only trouble is choosing what flavor. There's beer brats, cheddar brats, and naturals too. Whatever is a girl to do.
That poem makes me want to buy some brats. Here's a poem from Steve.
My name is Steve. I've been a Johnsonville member for the last 3 years, and this is my poem, Feed the Beast. Winter is ending. My grill needs some mending. Time to break out my favorite red tongs and sing my favorite brat song. Johnsonville brats make my family howl. Get grilling to stop that stomach growl.
That's the most beautiful poem I've ever heard. And that's a radio commercial made the Johnsonville way.
Jamie Allman in the morning.
Ann Coulter's supposed to speak on Thursday, and it's interesting how the ACLU is nowhere to be found on this at all. How do you, as an American, consciously want to keep somebody from speaking?
On FM News Talk 97.1. Listening to The Mark Cox Show. Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Guys, a woman who's dead drunk cannot consent. You are raping her. You are raping her. If you cannot say it's okay, I really mean this. We got to talk about this. Consent requires affirmative consent. And if you're too drunk to be able to consent, it is not consent.
Don't screw around with me.
That's Joe Biden giving some advice to Fox News, apparently, this weekend. Just teasing. He was speaking at George Mason University, I guess, talking about consent, because he mentioned it 6 times. And then he was also talking about personal defense.
Said, Jill, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house.
That would protect you, wouldn't it? I'm thinking. Crazy Uncle Joe is back. Barry's back, earning $400,000 a speech now on Wall Street. The very people he used to blast all the time. Don't buy his stuff for. I hope you never bought it for a minute. I didn't buy it for a minute. And the Democrats all running to his defense on that speech. Well, he didn't take a vow of poverty. He can go make $400,000 a speech. The Clintons have been doing it for years. Yeah, nothing to see here. Quite frankly, I have no problem with Barack Hussein Obama earning $400,000 for an hour of speaking or $500,000 for an hour of speaking. But don't bring your hypocritical butt over to me and claim the Republicans are the ones that take care of the rich, because he is the rich. Or Wall Street's evil, but you're willing to take $500,000 of their money to go speak to him. You know what their defense of that was? Well, he'll be true to his values. Yeah. Okay, whatever. He's making $60 million on a book deal. What's $400,000 more? I mean, honestly. The president has to earn a living.
This isn't fair.
I know. Rick, welcome into the program. You're on the air.
Hello.
Hey, go ahead, sir.
Yes. They were talking about the $400,000 you're just talking about.
Oh, with his speaking fee? Yeah.
Well, we had a family farm, it was worth $5 million, and there was 10 dividing it. Then we had to pay lawyers, other lawyers. Then you have to get people to do LLCs. You have to pay them too. So that was about $100,000. Then we had to get an LLC. That was about another $100,000. Then after you got that, you divide it through your family. The government allowed you. The original farm cost $40 and went for $5. Then you're allowed $250,000 off for that. Then after that, you're only allowed $11,000 per family member that you allowed the money to. So you can get from like the husband and wife for $11,000 apiece. And then that went in there. But since it was still connected to the original farm, after all said and done, and the mother-in-law passed away, then they turned around and said we were only going to have to pay. We got about $500,000 apiece. Then they turned around and said, well, you're only going to pay like $60,000 for inheritance tax. And then it ended up last year with the Obama tax, and that it came up to $97,000. So if anybody thinks that you get $400 and something thousand and you pay $90,000 right off the bat, plus what you paid in the first place, and say that $5 million ain't much. Well, $5 million isn't much when you divide it by 10, but you still pay the same amount of tax because the $5 million gets taxed no matter what and who's in line for it.
Correct. Yeah, I don't agree with any of that. I don't care whether it's $5 million or $20 million. I don't think the government should have the right to come back in and penalize you for something that's grown in value over the years. You clearly your family worked that farm, and it increased in value over what, 30, 40, 50 years, however long they owned it.
Yeah, and then you turn around, and then we had to pay, and then we reinvested the money, and then we had to pay again, but from the original amount. So that's why we had to pay $97,000 again. So that wiped it out. After 5 years, we paid $97,000 plus all the other stuff with the lawyers and that, which is a pretty good chunk of change too.
Yeah.
So anybody says that somebody gets $500 or $5 million for the farm and everything's just fine and dandy, it's not fine and dandy.
Yeah, well, thanks for pointing that out, Rick. I appreciate it. It's good to hear an example of exactly how bad it really can get.
It's never too early to learn that the government is a greedy piglet that suckles on a taxpayer's teat until they have sore, chapped nipples.
Ron Swanson has never been so right. Let me ask you, have you ever heard of Kelly Wright? Nope. You've not?
And yes, we have contributors who appear on our shows to express their opinions, and they're people of color, but we literally have a handful of black and Hispanic Latino reporters or anchors. As you may know by now, that I am the only black male anchor, which in 2017 should not be the case, and it speaks volumes of the disregard to equality at Fox News.
So that was Kelly Wright, who is apparently a news anchor at Fox News, and his I don't know when he works. His face looks familiar to me, so clearly I've seen him on some news updates, but I don't know that I've ever watched a full show with him anchoring it. He came out with a group of current and former Fox News employees yesterday and announced that he's suing Fox News for racial discrimination. Feels like that the organization should have done more to make sure that there was a greater representation of African Americans on the air. And I think, I'm just speculating here, there have recently been a lot of openings at Fox News. And primarily the people that have been promoted into those openings have been white males. Now, the spots that came open were not for news anchors anyway. They were for commentators. Those are opinion shows. The Tucker Carlson show is an opinion show, right? The Five is an opinion show. Sean Hannity is an opinion show. But he's upset that on the news side of their operation, he doesn't feel like enough African Americans are represented. This is what he said yesterday. He feels like the company marginalized his growth.
Behind closed doors, I found myself confronted with race, albeit in a more subtle but in a demeaning way, and marginalizing my growth and my development.
Sounds like a personal problem. Quite frankly, something I've never said on the radio before, I felt like Channel 4 News marginalized my growth years ago when they didn't name me the main news anchor. But I didn't go sue them over it. Here's the bottom line. Kelly Wright, who is a news anchor at a large network news company called Fox, may feel marginalized. He may have reason to believe behind the scenes that his race played a role in the fact that he wasn't promoted. He might feel that way. Here's the interesting thing about it. If you go to Google and you click on their news tab and you type racial discrimination in the top line and you hit return, you will come up with 27 stories that were filed yesterday about lawsuits filed against Fox News for race discrimination. Kelly Wright, I can no longer sit in silence. Multiple race discrimination suit hits Fox News. Kelly Wright accuses Fox News of racial discrimination. 27 stories. Only the Washington Post, out of all of those, the New York Post, had the full story. Guess who else got sued by the same group yesterday? CNN. And the New York Times. A half dozen people have filed suits against the New York Times and Fox News, while as many as 175 current and former employees have contacted lawyers about joining a class action suit against CNN. Every headline I could find only mentioned Fox News. CNN was sued. The New York Times was sued. If you don't think there is an orchestrated effort to bring down Fox News, you're blind. And that's just one shred of evidence of it right there. No mention of CNN or the New York Times or any of that. They all focused just on Fox in their headlines. Even CNN Money only mentioned Fox News, didn't mention they'd also been sued for racial discrimination. It's sickening. 314-969-9797. We're going to talk to the folks from the Young America's Foundation about this Ann Coulter controversy in California when we come back.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of the Mark Cox Show.
So the folks at Window World, I told you the other day that I was driving home, and in the neighborhood next to mine, I saw one of those Window World pickup trucks. They got their pickup trucks are kind of wrapped with that Window World logo. And I'm like, good, somebody's paying attention. Replacing windows isn't something you do all the time, right? We've lived in our home for, 18 years now, almost, 19. And we haven't had to replace our windows yet, but I can see that day coming. Maybe for you it's because you've got some cracked seals in your windows, which lets moisture in, or you've got single-pane windows, which is just letting your energy flow out the door. Call Window World. Let them come out and give you an estimate on what it would cost. WindowWorldSTL.com, 314-993-1800. They're the home of the original $189 window. Now, there'll be installation on top of that, but $189 per window. It's a great deal. You need to check them out at WindowWorldSTL.com.
If you've been contacted by the IRS or Missouri Department of Revenue for an audit or a past due tax debt, you may need the services of a tax attorney that can resolve your tax issues. Hi, I'm Lance Drury, a local tax attorney with over 30 years of experience, and I've helped hundreds resolve their IRS issues. Contact me at the law firm of Lance Drury right here in St. Louis. Your first visit is free and confidential, and we'll meet in person and work on a strategy to protect you and ensure a fair compromise. I know your rights, I know the law, and I get results. So if you've missed tax filings or if you've been accused of tax evasion, tax fraud, facing IRS, wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, act now. Call me, tax resolution attorney Lance Drury, at 314-238-7360, or go to Lance, DRURYlaw.com. That's Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Get that spring flooring project done with incredible deals from Lumber Liquidators. This week at the best selection of Woodlook waterproof flooring up to 24% off. All water-resistant Dream Home Ultra X2O laminate is 11 to 13% off. And get 10% off pre-finished engineered hardwood and engineered bamboo. They're great for every environment and every level of your home. More deals from 69 cents plus special financing. Get the perfect floor with deals from Lumber Liquidators today.
It's the final days of Mattress Firm's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's your last chance to save up to 70% off Tempur-Pedic and Sealy. Plus, take up to $2,000 off floor models from Sealy, Tempur-Pedic, Hampton & Rhodes, and others. We're liquidating every Tempur-Pedic and Sealy in stock to make room for the next generation of innovative sleep products. Only at your local Mattress Firm while supplies last. For offer details, visit mattressfirm.com/circulars. Product offer and prices may vary in Hawaii.
KFTK FM Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis.
The Mark Cox Show, brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of The Mark Cox Show.
Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. FM News Talk 97.1.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. No deal yet to avoid a government shutdown, and though both sides in Washington say they're optimistic, they're also blaming each other. Fox Radio's John Decker is live at the White House.
White House spokesman Sean Spicer blamed congressional Democrats for the delay in reaching an agreement to fund the federal government past the Saturday deadline.
The Democrats at the last minute have come in and thrown a lot of monkey wrenches into the ability for this to get done, despite the president doing everything that he can to show good faith to keep this going.
Earlier, the president weighing in on Twitter, writing, "I promise to rebuild our military and secure our border. Democrats want to shut down the government. Politics," he wrote. Lisa?
Well, John, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi says the current proposal has poison pill attachments.
Undermine a woman's right to comprehensive health care, undermine Dodd-Frank's protections for American consumers.
She wants controversial issues like Planned Parenthood funding and financial reforms left out. Canceling another controversial speaker hasn't stopped protesters from turning out at UC Berkeley. Fox Radio's Jessica Rosenthal with this live.
Lisa Ann Coulter told Fox she's not formally speaking because her allies backed out. Berkeley College Republicans said they called off the speech because police couldn't promise a venue or ensure safety today. But the pro-Trump group Proud Boys, led by Gavin McInnes, is still holding a campus rally. Coulter told me she planned to be in the area.
So, I think I'll have some drinks with them, and Gavin McInnes tells me he's going to show up on Sproul Plaza and read my speech.
Another conservative group is also rallying, as is the opposing International Socialist Organization. Police said they're expecting protests to last into the night, Lisa.
Jessica, an Arkansas inmate scheduled to die by lethal injection tonight is now asking the U.S. Supreme Court to stay the execution. The state has executed 3 inmates in the past week under a plan that originally called for putting 8 men to death over 11 days. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Blue the dog here for propane. Making the rounds with my owner, the propane man, has allowed me to see a lot. I may just be a simple dog. I didn't attend the elite boarding kennels, and you'll never see me on Barking with the Stars. But I do know that propane is the smart fuel that lets millions of Americans live where they want and how they want. It's clean, reliable, and powers modern appliances from tankless water heaters to high-efficiency furnaces. Learn more at proudlypropane.com.
Here's a little ditty about that John Deere mower deck that mows faster, better. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. If you just mow fast but your yard looks bad, then you got a lot of ugly grass. You need a John Deere to take care of your yard. You need a Z-Track Z3 45R. It's not how fast you mow, my friends, it's how well you mow fast. The XL deck's got more capacity for yards like yours that get to grassity. Want to mow well in a higher gear? See a John Deere dealer, nothing runs like a deer.
97.1 News Time 2:03. Good afternoon. I'm Jason Church. The car that struck and killed a motorcycle rider in Midtown was driven by an off-duty police officer. The rider was coming east on Olive and approached the North Cardinal Avenue intersection as the officer was turning west onto Olive. The bike hit the left side of the car. It'll take at least 12 weeks for all of the reports to come back to determine fault, if any. A van crashed into a Country Club Hills Walgreens parking lot after being shot at yesterday afternoon. 2 people were in the van traveling on Lucas and Hunt Road. Then they crashed into the cars that were parked at the store after they were shot at just before 1 p.m. Police arrested a man in connection with the shooting. A vacant house exploded yesterday in the 8600 block of Oriole Avenue in North St. Louis. The house was destroyed and neighboring homes were evacuated as a precaution. No injuries were reported. The cause of the blast is under investigation. For in-depth coverage on these stories and more, go to 971talk.com/news.
It's the final days of Mattress Firm's once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get savings of a lifetime, like up to 70% off Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, and more. But hurry, once they're gone, only at Mattress Firm.
Are you nearing retirement and wondering if you can afford to retire? Are you worried that you won't have enough income in retirement to live the same lifestyle as you are now? Are you also wondering how the stock market will affect your current retirement plan? This is Thomas Helbig of the Retirement Advisory Group, and we'd like to show you the kind of income your retirement accounts can provide, whether you're retiring now or even in the next 5 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation financial review. We'll build your own personalized structured income plan that will show you exactly the type of retirement you can count on. And just for coming in, we'll give you a copy of my best-selling book, The Boomer's Guide to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees achieve a worry-free retirement for 30 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494, or visit us online at retirementkey.com. Once again, that's 314-993-9494, or online at retirementkey.com.
From the simple to the sophisticated, commercial banking products from the Bank of Edwardsville can enhance both your cash flow and your bottom line. When you're ready to grow your business, let's start a conversation. The Bank of Edwardsville is here to help with competitive rates, a variety of loan options, and local decision making. Call or stop by any of our locations and say, hello, we're the Bank of Edwardsville. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Visit us at thinkthebank.com.
It's McBride & Son's Home Sweet Home Tour during the month of April. Visit any of McBride's over 40 communities to get sweet treats and an even sweeter deal. Save from $5,000 to $105,000 on a new inventory home. Plus, McBride will have dessert food trucks at select locations throughout the month. So follow them on social media for dates and stops. The McBride Home Sweet Home Tour now through April 30th. It's a sweet chance to get a sweet deal on a new home. See McBrideHomes.com for details.
While President Trump is making America great again, how about making your home great again by hitting up my window treatment guy, Michael Proctor. Proctor spelled like doctor, ProctorDrapery.com. Michael is an awesome dude. He has an interior design eye. So he comes on in, he'll help you decide on a fabric or what kind of style of Norman shutter you want or what kind of Roman shades you want, whether you want woven wood, whatever it happens to be. He has all of the variety you need to make your home beautiful. Plus, he's available 7 days a week, and that mobile design unit means you don't have to go anywhere. You just have him come in back and forth, depending on what your whim is, and he's available to you and has a great eye. And again, an avid customer of his. He's done 3 separate jobs for me in my home, and I love his work, love his eye, love his spirit, love his passion for making your home beautiful again. Proctor Drapery, Proctor spelled like doctor, ProctorDrapery.com.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Smile Advantage. Access to dental care you need at a price you can afford without the hassle of dental insurance. Now in St. Louis at multiple locations. Learn more at SmileAdvantageSTL.com.
The Mark Cox Show.
I want to compliment your show on how fair and level-headed everything you guys talk about.
Who is this guy? He's saying what we've been saying forever.
Maybe what we...
Mark Cox Show.
I respect that. We don't agree.
Listen to both sides.
This
Let's get it on.
Is the Mark Cox Show.
If he wasn't fired by the president for lying to the vice president, would he still have the job today, right here at the White House?
I will just say that I think the president made the right call at the right time, and it's clearly paid off.
The left, they're losing their collective mind over General Mike Flynn right now. I was in there in the break watching a news conference with Congressman Cummings and some other folks. claiming that they've got documents they've released that show the general was, which we all know, was warned about the emoluments clause when he retired, that he couldn't go take money from a foreign government. Now they're alleging that he did. And they're somehow trying to tie all of this to Donald Trump. But the unfortunate news for them is that all of that happened in 2015, before there was a Trump campaign and before General Flynn was a part of a Trump campaign. And the allegation of money changing hands was from some group in Russia. And if this is their only evidence of some sort of Russian collusion in the Trump campaign, that is a house of cards. That's a ridiculous argument. If all they have is a payment in 2015 to Mike Flynn, who consequently passed a security background check by the Obama administration after that, and Carter Page, who's about one of the least impressive characters I've ever seen in an interview, if those are the two evil doers who are the connection to the Russia thing, then this is like an episode of I Spy. Do you get it? It's a joke. But they think they've got fire now because they're holding a news conference and they've released these documents, and this must prove that. And now they want to know if Flynn hadn't lied to the vice president, would he still be part of this administration? And I mean, talk about speculating on things that, number one, didn't happen, and number two, probably unlikely would have happened. The assumption is that Trump must have known about this since 2015. And they don't have a shred of evidence of that. Glad you're back with us in our 2 o'clock hour today. We've still got a number of things that we want to get to. We've been talking about tax reform all day. Some evidence that Metrolink is not the only public transit system in America that's having crime problems. But other places where they're having it, they're dealing with it a little differently. We're going to talk about that this hour because it's they still haven't solved the problem here locally. What they're basically trying to do is go around Metro to solve it. And as we've talked about before, that is just almost a ridiculous theory, in my opinion. I mean, there are problems that to be had. The solution is to have a cop on every train and to force people to buy tickets to ride the trains and to have turnstiles. It's pretty simple, unless your goal is to not enforce fees because you think you're doing some social work or something. That's the only thing that gets down to. So we'll talk about that more later this hour. But listen to Ann Coulter on why she didn't end up speaking at Berkeley. Although Liz told me she read something this afternoon where that might still happen. I was told she canceled it. Here's what she said.
I thought I saw something on Fox this morning that said she might still go. I don't know that she's going to speak, but she might still go.
Let's go to audio soundbite number 1 real quick.
Whoa, has it come back now? But I mean, I think what's going on with Berkeley, when you have, it shows how radical the universities are generally.
Yes, that we know. And then she went on and claimed that not only was the university not dealing fairly with her, she started throwing barbs at a couple of the Republican and conservative groups that had backed her for her speech originally.
But at the end, YAF pulled out, said they wouldn't be associated with anything I did at Berkeley, and they wouldn't let the college Republicans bring a separate action either. So, I mean, even finding another lawyer, which I did, finding funding, what can you do?
Yeah, I don't know what the full story is here, but I know that the Young Americans Foundation has done some good work. We dealt with them when we got Colonel Alan West on the show back in the fall when the cupcakes and snowflakes at St. Louis University didn't want to have their eardrums abused by somebody who would utter the words radical Islam. Remember that? They had to sell cupcakes to raise money to buy coloring books and have safe spaces. I mean, it's just pathetic. And I appreciate what YAF does around the country by bringing in speakers who bring some diversity of thought to the whole issue on campuses these days. Spencer Brown is joining us right now from YAF. Spencer, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I'm doing fine. Maybe you can enlighten us a little bit on the role YAF played in the supposed Ann Coulter speech that is now apparently not going to happen, and maybe why you guys backed off, if you did, at the end.
I think important to just start out with is that there was nothing to back out of or pull out from, because the University of California at Berkeley, at no time did they ever actually give us a venue or an event date and time where we could host a lecture on that campus. The school continued to throw up roadblocks from the first time the students on that campus wanted to announce their intent to host Ms. Coulter, and throughout the entire process, they just kind of kept throwing up these roadblocks, many of which were unconstitutional. And so that's the basis for the lawsuit that we filed on Monday. So this idea that we backed out or pulled out, we're still suing the school to ensure that this sort of thing doesn't happen in the future to conservatives, and that conservatives, again, have a voice on that campus.
Right. So tell me about the lawsuit real quick. Fill us in on that.
Yeah, the lawsuit essentially gets to the basis of the issue, which is that Berkeley has taken unconstitutional action to suppress conservative speech on their campus. We've seen them use a number of different sort of administrative roadblocks, including leveraging unconstitutional security fees based upon the viewpoints of the person giving a speech. We saw them try to put in place a curfew on conservative speakers where they weren't allowed to speak on campus past 3 p.m., citing that it would be too dangerous to have a conservative speaking after 3 p.m. And then they also tried to force conservatives to speak at a venue 10 blocks off campus, rather than letting them use any of the number of venues for lectures that exist on the campus, and that they frequently make available for liberal speakers with no real hesitation.
Yeah. Boy, we've seen plenty of evidence of that, even here at St. Louis University, where they finally let Colonel West speak. But what's your reaction to the fact that Coulter's kind of thrown this back on you guys?
Honestly, it's very confusing because, again, we've not pulled out of anything. There was nothing for us to back out of because the school had never even gotten to a point in the process where they had told us, okay, you can hold an event here at this time on this date. There was no event there. And like I said, the Young America's Foundation is the only organization that is currently working to turn the tide at Berkeley, to bring intellectual diversity back to that campus and to restore free speech with this lawsuit that we filed.
Yeah, it's pretty much gone on a lot of campuses around the country. I've even heard some Democrats pushing back on that. They seem to be really surprised at the length to which a campus like UC Berkeley and even the town of Berkeley with the police chief sort of have taken a hands-off approach to the violence. I mean, it's almost like they're encouraging the violence.
Yeah, I think taking your first point that you made there first, it has been made very clear how indefensible a position Berkeley has put itself in here, because we have the ACLU in San Francisco coming out in support of conservatives having a right to speak on campus. We have Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren saying that they think conservatives should have the same platform on that campus. And so that really just speaks to the fact that Berkeley has put itself so far outside of the mainstream of even its own ideology that they have their own their own allies typically are turning against them. And then to your second point, during the process of filing this complaint in federal court, we discovered through our students on the campus there that we were working with to try to get this lecture scheduled, that the University of California Police Department at Berkeley has a stand-down policy, meaning that unless there's an imminent loss of life, the police have a policy to not get involved. So if people are rioting in the streets, if they're flipping cars, setting buildings on fire, as long as the police officer doesn't deem it to be an imminent loss of life, they can just stand there and not do anything to protect property or civilians.
Wow. Well, I appreciate the role you guys have played in bringing conservatives to campuses, and please keep up the fight, regardless of what happens in this particular Coulter case. For people in my audience who aren't familiar with the Young America's Foundation, you guys help do tours of Reagan's Ranch and all kinds of things like that. Tell people maybe who are parents who have children that might be able to get involved what the opportunities are with Young America's.
Yeah, so Young America's Foundation is the principal outreach organization of the conservative movement, and we're committed to making sure that increasing numbers of young people are familiar with conservative principles, and so we accomplish that through a number of methods. including student lectures that we have at the Reagan Ranch in Santa Barbara, our national headquarters here in Reston, Virginia, as well as around the country. And then we also have Young Americans for Freedom chapters, which are sort of these outposts of freedom on campuses across the country where they're there informing their peers about conservative ideas and exposing their peers to conservative principles.
Well,
and then we also have the Reagan Ranch that we use sort of year-round in order to show students who President Reagan was as a man and show them why he loved freedom and how he enjoyed his ranch as a place to experience that freedom.
Don't they even have programs where children can attend classes on the ranch?
Yes, that's correct. We do that from time to time. So if people are interested in seeing what events we have coming up, they can go to yaf.org/events, and that shows you all of our upcoming campus lectures that we do. This week alone, we had a dozen successful campus lectures, and this month we had over 30 campus lectures taking place across the country. So they can see if there's one of those maybe going on nearby, or see all of our upcoming conferences as well.
Well, Spencer, keep up the good work. Sometimes I feel like we're losing that battle with our youth.
Oh, not a problem. You know, I have to say, working with students every day, I can tell you there is a reason to be hopeful, and it is these students on their campuses. They're the real courageous ones who are putting up with this kind of leftist discrimination every day.
Very good. That's Spencer Brown with the Young Americas Foundation. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And hopefully that sheds a little light on what's going on with Coulter. I mean, she's kind of blaming them, but I'm not sure that they bear responsibility in this. I think she was a little frustrated. The head of the Berkeley College Republican, this must be a small group, but he is one of the ones who came out and verbally pulled support for a Coulter appearance. He talked to a local TV crew out there. I'm sorry, we potted up. Hold on, that's my fault. Here we go.
And I also believe that Ann Coulter, to some extent, was capitalizing off of the narrative of, going into Berkeley and testing the limits of free speech, rather than going into Berkeley and, probably, facilitating a dialogue with students who disagree with me so we can reach a productive end.
Yeah. I don't think Ann Coulter is going there to have a dialogue with crazy liberals to try to change their mind, particularly not the ones who are the Antifa or whatever they call themselves, these anti-fascist groups who wear black hoods and don't have the guts to show their face and cause damage and start fires. Tucker Carlson last night interviewed a professor who had written an article in support of campuses like Berkeley who are preventing conservative points of view from being expressed. And I want you to listen to a part of this. It's unbelievable the defense the guy tries to give to this. And I'll play it for you when we come back. I'm going to go to a break right now so I can have enough time. Charles, I will take your phone call when we come back here in just a couple minutes. 314-969-9797. I want you to hear this exchange Tucker had with this guy who's just like a vacuous idiot, but somehow he became a professor who believes it's okay for campuses to crack down on people like Ann Coulter or Milo Yiannopoulos or whoever's speaking. He doesn't see a double standard at all. We'll be back right after this.
The Mark Cox Show on FM News Talk 97.1, 98.7, AM 1490, and 97.1talk.com.
Traffic reports at your fingertips. Real-time traffic online. Log on to 971talk.com for real-time traffic updates.
Brought to you by Frank Lita Acura. With 0.9% financing going on now. Can't beat a Lita. Online at litaacura.com.
Well, I've told you about Brian Agers and Agers HVAC. If you missed my interview with him yesterday when he was in studio, you should go look it up on our website there, 971talk.com, and listen to it. Because he's talking about the increased costs that are coming along to put coolant, Freon, so to speak, back in your system. The costs are going through the roof because of environmental things that are coming up. Just news you need to know. That's the kind of guy Brian is. He wants to inform people of what's going on. He's honest. He's got integrity. Not going to sell you something that you don't need or want. If you do need a new air conditioning system as we head into the summer, he's offering rebates of up to $1,700 in Lennox rebates for those qualifying systems. Here's the deal. Some of these new air conditioners are so efficient that homeowners are seeing a 40% reduction in their cooling bills. That's a big difference. And if you've got a two-story home like I do and only a single AC, they've got some solutions that can bring that 10 to 12 degree difference between your two floors down to just a couple of degrees. Call them, have them come out. They'll give you $20 off for new customers for a service call or their new service agreement since you're a 97.1 listener. You can go to their website. It's the easiest way to get a hold of them. It's Brian Agers, A-G-E-R-S, Agers HVAC at callagers.com.
Hey, would you buy a house without looking inside? Well, of course not. Well, shouldn't you be just as diligent when choosing a financial advisor? Hey, it's Sean Hannity here, and just as a house is more than four walls, well, a financial advisor is more than just a nice office. Now, what's their background? Do they work in your best interest as a fiduciary? What's their financial specialty? Now, you want to know all these things because the chances are over your lifetime, you're going to trust them with far more than the value of your home because knowledge and experience count for a lot in retirement income planning. Here in St. Louis, you need to know Ken and Lori Heisey and the team at the Heisey Advisory Group. Call them now at 314-328-6000. That's 314-328-6000. Don't be cavalier with your financial assets. Heisey Advisory Group, 314-328-6000.
Investment advisory services offered through Global Financial Private Capital, LLC. Securities offered through GF Investment Services, member FINRA SIPC.
All joking aside, things are getting pretty serious in the world. Shame we don't sell tomahawks. Hi, this is Sig Glockenkohl from Tactical. What we do sell is defensive gear, gun parts, and lifestyle accessories for American patriots, law enforcement officers, and military, aka the sheepdogs that protect the flock. So whether you need parts for your AR-15, armor for dangerous operations, or just want a cool t-shirt that pisses off liberals, we've got your six. Tactical at I-70 in St. Peters, or shop.tactical.com.
Listen up, men. This is the St. Louis Men's Clinic. You've heard our ads on the radio, you've seen our commercials on TV, and you've seen us in the sports section of the newspaper, so you know what we do. Our physicians specialize in treating erectile dysfunction and premature issues in men of all ages. That's what we do all day, every day. So you've probably heard our ads thousands of times. The other times you were just listening to our ads, we were helping thousands of other men recover their sex life. While you were only watching our commercials, these men took action and have the intimacy back in their relationship. Don't wait until it's too late. Do something about your issue today and move from skeptic to believer. We have a $199 office visit right now. Appointments fill fast. Call now, 314-828-2600. That's 314-828-2600. Call 314-828-2600. And don't forget to ask about our new revolutionary Priapus shot.
Enjoy cocktails and conversation at Ruth's Chris. And when you're ready to enjoy the tastes that made Ruth's Chris famous, order our signature steak served sizzling on a 500-degree plate. Find menu items and more at ruthschrisstlouis.com. Meet your friends and coworkers at Ruth's Chris Bar for tasty small plates and swirl-worthy drinks. Ruth's offers a delicious selection of mouth-watering food and handcrafted cocktails made with fresh ingredients and premium spirits. Visit ruthschrisstlouis.com.
Dave Glover.
The Dave Glover Show.
Thursday on the DGS, my favorite segment all week, The Think Tank at 5 p.m.
Dave Glover.
Now weekdays 3 to 7 on FM News Talk 97.1. Listening to The Mark Cox Show. Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox.
Without getting overly dramatic then, Mr. Secretary, would you be willing to raise your right hand and look at the American people and say, I, Stephen Mnuchin, promise you that this will be revenue neutral and deficit neutral?
That was Matt Lauer, in case you didn't recognize the voice. He was beating up a little bit on Steve Mnuchin when they had him on the show to talk about this. So was Savannah Guthrie. Listen to Savannah with the Democratic talking points on cut number 14 for me there, Liz. Thank you.
This idea that you can pay for it with economic growth is a kind of a Washington fairy tale. You hear about it all the time. I mean, tax cuts definitely stimulate growth. Question is whether it's enough. There's actually a guy named Steve Bell. He was a Republican staff member in the 80s when Reagan had his tax cut. And he says this is fool's gold, that you'll cut taxes, everybody works harder, more money will come, and you'll erase the fiscal impact. He says it never happens.
Hey, Savannah, it never happened because of a guy named Tip O'Neill, which is why it didn't happen. We go round and round with these people. I'm telling you, it's just amazing. Let me get back to this story on Ann Coulter for a moment. Some people aren't upset that she's not being allowed to talk because there are people who don't like Ann very much. But the bottom line is we've crossed a line in America where on a campus where liberals claim that they, I don't know, what word would you use? They started their free speech movement or whatever in the 1960s, and it was all the radical hippies and all that, all of the people that Barack Obama idolizes and who he filled the government up with, who now don't want to hear the words they don't agree with, who need a safe space. So a professor at some liberal East Coast college wrote a paper basically claiming that this was legitimate because universities should only allow people onto their campus who add to the discussion. So clearly what he's saying is if you disagree with the liberal point of view, you're no longer welcomed in the discussion. Tucker had a ball with him last night. Listen.
Can't think of an occasion in the life of Colby College, for example, when conservative students have stopped a liberal speaker. It's always the other way around. So what are the criteria? Why is Ann Coulter, for example, who's raising big public policy issues, immigration, why is she not suitable?
Well, a couple of points on this. One is that if you look at, it's a wonderful service by the Foundation for Individual Rights and Education. FIRE provides a database of disinvited speakers or disinvitation attempts. And if you look at that, you'll see that it's actually not always from the left that the disinvitation or no platforming happens. So I want to just correct that. The thing is, the fact of the matter is...
Can you name a single example where a speaker has been physically prevented from speaking by conservative students?
I know basically that Barack Obama and Alice Walker have been sort of denied or at least attempted.
They were not stopped from speaking. Nobody put their bodyguards in the hospital. Nobody threw rocks against the building or pounded on the windows. Conservative students have not, that I'm aware of, and I would denounce it immediately if they did, stopped any speaker, and yet you see it on the left, and yet your piece doesn't say one word about that. I wonder why.
Yeah, that was an interesting to see the guy try to defend his argument that you should be able to shut down speech. It doesn't matter to me who it is, if it's the president's reverend up there in Chicago or Reverend Wright or Ann Coulter. I mean, whether it's from the left or from the right, they ought to be able to go on campus and speak. And now one of the news organizations in San Francisco is reporting that there may be a face-off today because Coulter supporters, who they describe as far right, are going to hold a rally to denounce the attempted silencing of her views. And, of course, the folks on the left, who they don't really refer to as the far left, plan to show up to counter-protest. So now anybody on the right who supports Ann Coulter, they're being referred to in this article as the alt-right. But I thought the alt-right only applied to white supremacists. Unless you're trying to change the subject and change the meaning of the word to mean anybody who's on the right, which has been their goal all along. That's why I don't accept that title at all, period. End of discussion. That's kind of what they're after. All right, let me. I told Charles I would take his phone call. Let me do that. He's been holding for a while. Charles, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing? I'm glad, happy to talk to you.
Absolutely. What's going on?
Hey, just a couple quick things. You know, like you're talking about that rich tax,
the death tax.
Let me qualify this by saying I'm not for that tax or personal property or property taxes going up automatically every 2 years. I'm not for none of that. But it's like a city when they want to do away with the earnings tax. Aren't the Republicans concerned at all about the deficit and how this is going to explode? If they do half of the things Trump said he's going to do, it's going to explode.
Well, of course they are.
Well, how is it that they complain when a Democrat said about deficit spending, and they're just as much to blame as the Democrats?
No. I don't disagree, Charles. I don't think you and I disagree on this issue. The difference is just what Savannah Guthrie was talking about earlier, is the belief that the economy's not going to respond when you cut people's taxes. It did when JFK cut people's taxes in the 60s, and it did when Ronald Reagan cut people's taxes in the 80s. But if you don't rein in spending at the same time, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay, but can I inject one thing? You know, a lot of people on the right use that Kennedy example, but I think they took it like from 90% to 70%. Which is going to be, which would I agree with it, really expand the economy. But when you're down to ground zero without paying your bills, now, it's like saying, oh, let's just cut the taxes out and then we're going to have all kinds of money. Because if you keep lowering them, you're going to keep making more money. They always plug an assumption in that matches. They want the outcome, and they plug in the assumption that they need to make that sound good. And that's what Guthrie said. That's an old saying in Washington. But Democrats and Republicans both have been doing that. They just use an assumption that makes their theory work, and it never works.
Well, this is what I've said all along, is that what they really need to do is use this as the blueprint and then sit down to negotiate. And part of the negotiation could be, well, we'll add this back in if you're willing to put a cap on entitlement spending for the next 5 years. And if they can negotiate and get some control over the spending, because last year we brought in record tax revenue in this country and we still can't pay our bills. Now, Charles, you couldn't operate like that, and I couldn't operate like that, but the government operates like that.
One final question: if he gives his tax cut, corporation tax cut down to 15%, are they going to lose loopholes? Are they going to lose all their deductions?
I think that's part of the plan.
As you said, one of your callers the other day said, I never looked it up, but I know hardly any of them pay 35. But that guy said it was like 13-point-something% is the actual number the average corporation pays. So if they're going to lower it to 15, and they don't take any of the other stuff away, they're going to be literally at zero.
I see your point, and I don't know the answer to that because there are some details of this that haven't been released yet.
Right.
But he did say a lot. He did say a lot of those things are being, a lot of those deductions are being eliminated.
Yeah, and this is details. I don't know if this is going to happen, but they're talking about this new health care with the Republicans, and they said the pre-existing conditions. Oh, they're going to keep it, but it's going to be like 39 times the premium to accept a person with a pre-existing condition. Now, I just read that in the paper. I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, that's literally like doing away with pre-existing conditions. Who's going to pay 39 times the premium? So, I don't have a lot of confidence that this new healthcare thing they talked about, and only took them 2 weeks to get to a solution. I don't have much confidence that's going to be any better than the first one.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, so what you're referring to is the fact that supposedly what's in this new health care bill that made the Republicans happy is that some states would be able to opt out of some of those rules that were in Obamacare that required no limits on health care coverage and all this other stuff. So, but even if they did that, there's some other part of it that would boost some kind of a slush fund for people that were in a high risk insurance pool.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of stuff I'm afraid of.
Okay.
Because they say all that stuff's going to happen, and all that you can be assured. And just like a guy said, look me in the eye and tell me you're honestly going to tell me that. They said it's going to be neutral. It never is. Now whether, and that's Democrats and Republicans. I'm not one of these people that sit here and just complain about conservatives and Democrats. Democrats pull some of the same stuff.
Sure. No, I know. Let's wait till we see some details on that. But I don't know when that's going to happen. But I appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for taking the call.
Thanks, Charles. You have a great day. Thank you very much. Roland, thanks for calling in.
Hi, hey, love the show. Has listened for many years. Just a comment to Charles, who's hey, he's more than welcome to pay any more taxes that he wants to. Okay, but I'm in a 29% bracket, and if this brings me down to 22 or 25, I'm a happy camper. Corporations don't pay taxes. Buildings don't pay taxes. We, the consumer, pay taxes. If they want to lower it, let them, and let where the chips fall. I can't believe that there's even a discussion about, well, they want to lower this to this to this. It's crazy.
Well, they're worried that they won't be able to fund all of their giveaway programs to make sure people vote Democrat.
Where are we at with the deficit? 21 trillion, 22 trillion?
Yeah,
is that ever going to get eviscerated? Of course not.
Of course not.
What happens today is what counts. When I go up to fill out my taxes next year, instead of paying $4,800 to the feds, maybe I'll only pay $2,200 or $1,900 or nothing. That's what counts, and that's what the man in the office is trying to do right now to the guy on the street. If you don't realize that, I mean, some of the folks that don't realize that, in my humble opinion.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point? Well, Charles, write your check every year to whatever percentage you want to pay.
Roland, I appreciate the call.
Absolutely.
All right.
Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. Hey, some breaking news is coming over right now. We'll talk about it when we come back. United Airlines, I called this, has settled out of court with Dr. Dow, the guy that got drugged down the aisle. They've settled out of court. They just want it to go away at the same time that there are other problems like dead bunnies popping up for the airline. We'll be right back.
This is the Mark Cox Show. Air Comfort Service Heating and Cooling. Weather with Dave Murray.
After a wet afternoon yesterday, we've got a dry day on this Thursday. A little cool for this time of year, 65. Tonight, lots of clouds, 52. Friday, couple of scattered thunderstorms here and there, 72. Expects a fair amount of dry time, but an uptick in the rain and thunderstorms Friday night, and looking like a very wet weekend. I'm Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray for FM News Talk 97.1.
The Mark Cox Show is sponsored in part by Granite Transformations. Let them transform your kitchen, bath, or commercial space. Explore the wide selection of products in their beautiful showroom in Chesterfield or online at granitetransformations.com. They have the perfect solution for your next project. Well, I'm fairly low tech, but I'll have to tell you, the thing that excites me is that I can go on my phone now with an app and I can schedule TV programs to record at the house. And I think that's really cool. But that doesn't begin to touch the technology. So I'm sitting down and talking to Mike over at Conservative Pool Services. He goes, you know what? If I'm doing your pool work, I can sit at my house on my phone and pull up an app, and I can tell you exactly what your system's doing right now. They've got technology these days. They've got automation controllers, eco-friendly pumps, salt systems, pressure side cleaners and filters. You name it. Plus, they can control and monitor your pool from a smartphone. That's how advanced it's got. But that's not why you're going to hire Conservative Pool Services. You're going to hire them because they're dependable and customer service comes first. Call Mike. Find out how the deal you've got with a pool company compares to what he can offer you. 314-736-5252. He'll even give you 20% off labor on your pool opening and any service calls. Go to conservativepoolservices.com.
Narcolepsy is a chronic sleep disorder that causes extreme daytime sleepiness and sudden, irresistible sleep attacks that can strike at any time. Narcolepsy affects roughly 1 in 2,000 people. I'm Dr. Joe Oja with the Clayton Sleep Institute. If you are one of the thousands of Americans who suffer from narcolepsy, we can help. Contact us at 314-645-5855 or visit ClaytonSleep.com. Clayton Sleep Institute. Better sleep, better life.
Cast off the everyday. Seek adventure, explore new roads. Plaza Land Rover has just what you need to escape the backyard and embrace the backcountry. Right now, lease a 2017 Land Rover Discovery Sport for just $385 a month. Go above and beyond at Land Rover St. Louis, a Plaza Motor Company. 39-month lease, 0 security deposit, $34.95 cash down, $7.95 acquisition fee, and first month's payment of $385. Excludes retailer fees, taxes, title, and registration fees for well-qualified lessees. See dealer for details. Offer expires 4/30/17.
At Johnsonville, our people are responsible for everything, even telling you when it's time to break out the grill for spring. Here's Sean with a poem to remind you it's grilling season.
Hi, my name is Sean. I work at Johnsonville, and this is my poem, Long Lost Love. My name is Sean. I love my grill. Just thinking about it gives me chills. But when it's cold, our love is strained. I fear my grill won't know my name. But grilling time is here again, and I'll spend some time with my dear friend. I'll buy some brats for us to share, and sausage smoke will fill the air.
That poem makes me want to buy some brats. Here's a poem from Scooter.
Hi, I'm Scooter. I work at Johnsonville in the maintenance department, and this is a beautiful sausage poem. Where my bungalows at? It's time to get grilling, because winter's done chilling. By Johnsonville brats, they're tasty and filling. Good, tasty, and filling.
That's a delicious poem. And that's a radio commercial made the Johnsonville way.
Hey folks, Allman here for Mid-America Arms, and I can tell you as an avid customer, these guys are awesome. I have purchased 3 guns from them. I have my awesome Ruger American 45, which is a brand new line. I have my trusty 38, and of course my amazing Kel-Tec Bullpup. It's a 15-round 12-gauge shotgun. I appreciate the quality of their guns. I appreciate the great discounts they have. I appreciate their trade-in policy. I appreciate the fact that their people do not work in any way, shape, or form on commission, so you're getting the straight scoop all the time. MidAmericaArms.com, right there in beautiful Afton on Gravois, MidAmericaArms.com.
Stop by today and take advantage of the Smith & Wesson mail-in rebate offer on any new M&P Shield, M&P Body Gear 380, or S&W pistols. All products carry a lifetime warranty and is some of the best gear on the market. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details or check out MidAmericaArms.com for more details.
Jamie Allman in the morning.
Should taxpayer-funded colleges be punished for squelching free speech? We got a guy who says yes, plus Annie Fry, y'all.
On FM News Talk
97.1. You're listening to The Mark Cox Show. Follow Mark on Twitter at MarkCox971.
I have to go home. 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 I have to go home.
Well, there you have it. That was Dr. Dow, the guy that got dragged off the airplane with United Airlines and then announced he was going to have a lawsuit. You knew you could just smell that coming. United Airlines has now settled with him. The story just breaking. Fox News has learned that Dr. David Dow, the man who was forcibly removed from his seat, dragged off United Airlines flight, has settled with the carrier for an undisclosed amount. We're pleased to report that we've reached an amicable resolution to the unfortunate incident that occurred aboard Flight 3411. And I imagine that Bill O'Reilly's settlements with those people that accused him of stuff probably said something similar. We're proud that we've reached an amicable resolution of the unfortunate incident that he's accused of. And both sides seemed happy about it at the time, and now he's lost his job over it. Anyway, that's not the end of the airline problems. Did you hear this? There was a United was transporting a 45-pound rabbit or something like that. Did you see the shot of this rabbit?
I did. The thing was huge.
So a giant rabbit died traveling from London to Chicago.
It was like the world's largest rabbit.
Well, it was the child of the world's largest rabbit. It was it was only 10 months old. It was a baby. It was being delivered to somebody in
It was a baby and it was 45.
It was only 10 months old. Yeah.
Holy cow.
I don't know how much it weighed. It was huge. Anyway, when they landed, they're claiming, United says the rabbit was alive when the plane landed. But apparently some other people are reporting the rabbit was dead when an employee opened its cage after it got there. So I don't know how much that's going to cost them, but you know it's coming, right? So this guy's now settled with United. Guess what happened to this dude on Delta? He gets on a Delta flight, and they leave the gate and they get out on the tarmac, and then they had a 30 or 40 minute delay before they could take off. There was something going on, and the plane was just sitting out there. So it's apparently a rule on Delta that you can't get up to go to the bathroom when the plane is on the runway. So this gentleman was facing either going in his pants or getting up to go to the bathroom. So he got up and went to the rear of the airplane to use the bathroom. They took the plane back to the gate and escorted him off the plane. Listen.
I purchased this ticket. Can you help me understand why? We're going to discuss this outside. Not here. Outside.
Cell phone video of Milwaukee man Kima Hamilton's interaction with Delta last week when other passengers realized he was being kicked off the Milwaukee-bound flight from Atlanta for going to the bathroom.
I need more information, sir. I haven't done anything. I paid for this ticket, and I actually have to get home.
Hamilton. So this guy gets escorted off the airplane because he had to go to the bathroom. Listen to him explain it.
Told us today the plane was delayed taking off, and he couldn't wait any longer to use the bathroom.
Sometime later, we're still taxied. The plane hadn't moved, and it's at an emergency stage now.
I've seen this happen on planes before and never heard of someone being removed.
Fellow passenger and lawyer Krista Rosalino was sitting next to Hamilton and started recording because she didn't feel Delta was treating Hamilton like a person.
So the interesting thing about this is, I guess I'm not quite sure why Delta had to send two people onto the plane. Eventually, the victim here agreed to leave. He agreed to get off I guess he could have been dragged off. Maybe if he had known Dr. Dowell was going to get some huge settlement from United, he would have just said, I need to go home. I need to go home. I need to go home over and over again, and they would have dragged him off the plane. When he got off the plane, the FBI was waiting for him, he says. But they decided not to arrest him. Here's what Delta did for him. They refunded part of his ticket cost, but then left him to find his own way back home to Milwaukee. Can you believe that? That is, you would think these airlines would have learned their lesson, because they're never going to win the PR battle in a situation like that. Oh, by the way, a little bit of breaking news, courtesy of Frank Ladd, all right? So earlier, I played for you the soundbite of Sean Spicer giving what was apparently some new information. Somebody asked him if 401k plans were going to be, if you'd still be able to contribute to those pre-tax, and he said no, they're only going to allow you to contribute to charitable causes and get your home deduction. I said at the time when I played that bite earlier, that doesn't sound like what I heard Mnuchin say yesterday. The White House has issued a statement that Spicer was wrong, that he misunderstood what those guidelines were, and that indeed 401ks will still be, you'll still get to contribute to those pre-tax. Because I said, that would be a big deal for a lot of people if they could no longer, if they had to pay tax on that additional income that they were putting away. What's going on? Oh, sorry. I got to get to Tony here. I just want to update this. I'm chatting, trying to get the information out. But we do have a brand new Man on the Street segment this week.
Yeah, this week we asked people, I can't believe we haven't done it yet. We asked people the story that won't go away. Do you really believe that Russia could have influenced our election?
Oh, good. Let's listen to it.
Hey guys, Tony Colombo here for Man on the Street for the Mark Cox Show. This is the question that won't go away. Do people think that the Russians worked with Donald Trump to alter our election? Let's go find out. Here's a story that's been going on for months. Do you think that Donald Trump and his people worked together with the Russians to alter our election?
I don't think so. I think the Russians probably talked with everybody that was running beforehand because that's what you do. You prepare for whatever, and that's what they were doing.
Do you feel like that our election was altered in any way?
No, I haven't seen any proof of that. That the fact that they were sending out spam emails and stuff, I don't know that alters anything. Unless they show they hacked into some state's election board and stuffed the ballot box, I don't know how else they could impact it.
I'd like to think that there was some reason why he got elected, because I'd hate to think that he was elected fairly, but I can't say.
I have no clue. I mean, I really don't think so. Like, I feel like if they really were, like, we would have evidence and proof of it. Like, it's 2017. Like, our technology is very advanced, so I'm sure they would really know for sure if it was true.
I probably think the Russians may have altered the elections in order for Donald Trump to be in there instead of Hillary Clinton, but I don't think there's that much power or they have that kind of guts to do that. That's real dangerous, and you get in real big trouble. So.
But you think there were people trying to push an agenda?
There's always an agenda being pushed. I don't know what they have to do with it, but there's always an agenda being pushed, and however way they fit, I think they thought fit better with them because they probably have more experience with Hillary, with her being Secretary of Defense, so they probably didn't like her, like a lot of people didn't, obviously, I guess, right?
Do you think that Donald Trump and his people worked together with the Russians to alter our election?
I really do. Actually, I do, yeah. First of all, the popular vote was won by Hillary by a landslide. So it's very confusing to me how he could win the electoral votes and not win the popular vote.
You think we should just go popular vote?
Absolutely. I don't see why that wouldn't be. Everybody else does it that way. It doesn't make sense the other way.
Just ignore that.
The Electoral College doesn't make sense.
Fortunately, it made sense to our founders. Yeah, so that one surprised me a little bit because some of those same folks you had spoken to before had some very radical ideas, I thought, on Trump in general.
People are starting to... That story's
ignore the Russian thing. Yeah,
it's starting to go away, so that's good.
Tony, thank you. Nice job on that. Go to 971talk.com. You can look at the video on our website there on the Mark Cox Show blog. Have a great day. The DGS is up next. We're back here tomorrow, noon to 3.
This hour of the Mark Cox Show brought to you by Smile Advantage. Access to dental care you need at a price you can afford without the hassle of dental insurance. Now in St. Louis at multiple locations. Learn more at smileadvantagestl.com.
All right, the Hair Saloon is going to be hosting its 6th annual head shaving event for St. Baldrick. It's coming up April 30th from noon to 4. Now, they're going to be doing it at one location, their Belle Reve Plaza location. That's in the 12,700 block of Olive Boulevard over in Creve Coeur. They want to raise $30,000. They've raised $104,000 in the past for this, so you need to go help them out with that. The money raised goes to the St. Baldrick's organization, and they give it to hospitals for child cancer research. If you want additional details, all you have to do is go to their website there at St. Baldrick's. You can go to their website, or you can go to the Hair Saloon website, hairsaloon.com. Find one of their 14 locations, and I will see you at the Hair Saloon.
Someone wise once made the observation, out of sight, out of mind. Who was this sage individual? Ironically, no one knows. Just someone who should have heeded their own advice. For example, they could have used a business card. Or two. Which brings us to the UPS store. We can help you print everything from business cards to brochures and posters to menus. And we have a huge variety of paper stocks and finishing options. Because people are much more likely to remember your name if they can see it. Every business has a story to tell. Want the world to know yours? No problem. United Problem Solvers. Come see us at the UPS Store. The UPS Store franchise locations are independently owned and operated. Services, pricing, and hours may vary. See Center for details.
The Honda Dream Garage sales event is back, just in time to enjoy spring in your favorite kind of Honda. Whether that's the spring getaway kind of Honda, or the perfect Honda for you. Because right now, well-qualified buyers can get 0.9% APR on the 2017 Honda Civic. That's the Kelley Blue Book's KBB.com overall best buy kind of Honda.
Make your dream a reality at Frank Lita Honda with 0.9% financing on most new Hondas.
See dealer for financing details. For more information, visit KelleyBlueBooksKBB.com. Kelley Blue Book is a registered trademark of Kelley Blue Book Co. Inc.
Get that spring flooring project done with incredible deals from Lumber Liquidators. This week at the best selection of wood look waterproof flooring up to 24% off. All water-resistant Dream Home Ultra X2O laminate is 11 to 13% off. And get 10% off pre-finished engineered hardwood and engineered bamboo. They're great for every environment and every level of your home. More deals from 69 cents plus special financing. Get the perfect floor with deals from Lumber Liquidators today.
Information at your fingertips. 971talk.com. Your desktop talk stop. KFTK FM Florissant, KFTK AM East St. Louis, K254CR St. Louis.
The Mark Cox Show, brought to you by Thomas Helbig, the official St. Louis financial advisor of The Mark Cox Show.
Find everything Mark Cox at 971talk.com/Cox. FM News Talk 97.1.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lisa Brady. United Airlines reaches a settlement with a man recently dragged off a flight. Fox Radio's Jeff Manasso is live in Chicago.
Lisa, lawyers with the doctor, David Dow, say their client has agreed to a deal for the injuries Dow received April 9th that drew outrage when viral videos showed the doctor being forcefully dragged off a booked flight here in Chicago. The provision of the settlement is that the amount that Dow has paid will remain secret. The airline today also announcing policy changes that it hopes will help lure customers back. Lisa.
Thanks, Jeff. President Trump says he was a few days away from terminating NAFTA when the leaders of Mexico and Canada called him